sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, for you, won't you let the light shine through. In the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you.
Let's do it second time, here we go. Let's rest on for you.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through.
Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the latest Elite FPL podcast, of course with myself Stevo. It is finally the breakfast show after weeks and weeks, months it seems, of promising that I'll be doing it. I can actually do it. It's ridiculous really, since actually saying that I'd actually do the stream in the morning, I have ironically not been able to do it. And finally, after weeks of promising, I can now bring it to you. And yeah, good morning to everybody. This is obviously the breakfast show where, let's be brutally honest here, this is aimed or predominantly for our Southern Hemisphere fans. God, I've missed that. And by the way, I know Phil and Aussie Boy are going to be joining us. But if you do want to come live on air, you know what to do. Just get in the waiting room. I really can't be bothered to speak. I'd rather let other people speak. And let's get the elephant out the room, shall we? Let's just address it, shall we? Let's just quickly go over the last game week where it's more the fact that I'm going to be talking about one player and one player only, which is Aguero. If, and it is the big if he had simply got that assist for the penalty, and if Gundogan had scored the penalty more importantly, I truly do think that Tottenham would have lost that 3 or 4-0. That for me, if anybody watched it, obviously myself, Lewis and Paulie were doing the match, specifically Paulie corresponding from it. And we were covering the game line. Me and Lewis had the captaincy on Aguero. And we were absolutely bricking it going into it because obviously the heroics of Salah, incredibly getting 2 goals, but whatever. And I think Lewis summed it up perfectly that this is just the way football goes. You just cannot call it. And honestly, I truly do think that my captaincy was the right one. And unfortunately, it didn't work out. I mean, I know Phil's here and we'll bring him on in a minute. He captained Aubameyang. Quite a lot of people captained Aubameyang. And honestly, to be honest with you though, I think that Aubameyang was more of a risk versus Burnley. His history, yes, was excellent, but to be honest with you, I knew that would be a really, really tight game. Arsenal aren't scoring goals at the moment. And I thought, yeah, Aubameyang may get a goal, possibly, but people thinking that he was going to get like a double-digit scoreline, no, not for me. I predicted officially I predicted 2-0. I thought it was going to be 1-2-0 Arsenal, basically because we can't beat Arsenal. We still didn't beat them, but it ended 0-0. As Paulie and various other people suggested, Arsenal were terrible. The result reflects more on Arsenal than it does Burnley. And, again, that J. Rodriguez shot coming in, bouncing off the line. If it had gone in, once again, these little fine margins. And then we moved on to the Man City game. And honestly, Aguero, he could have got a hat-trick in the first half. But they missed the penalty, and I do think that it just completely capitulated on them. And that was the end of it. But we move on to Gameweek 26, which, of course, is spread across a month. Honestly, it is... I think this game week is ludicrous. I came up with the idea that I honestly do think that this... Honestly, I think they should do what Sky do or whatever. They should split this particular game week across... making it as if it's like 2 game weeks, if you know what I mean. And if you ain't got the players, you ain't got the players. End of discussion. I think that it'd be amazing to have... And again, once I get the guys on, I'd love to hear their opinion, because I know Phil... I'm sure Phil agreed with me at the time. I can't remember now, but if anybody wants to come live on air, the phone line is open. Just get into the Discord waiting room. But I honestly do think that this game week should be split across 2, where we get the opportunity to have essentially 2 different captains. But if you wanna bring in X amount of players for the first 4 games, if you want to get like a Brighton player in versus Watford, if you want to get in a Bournemouth player versus whatever the circumstances may be, do it. That's your decision, that's your strategy. I just think that this particular game week, I know John Harris, morning pal, if you are watching or watching on the replay, I know for a fact that he brought this up, that the deadline is 11:30 on Saturday morning, and the final game will not finish until Monday the 17th of February at about 10 o'clock, which is between Chelsea and Man United. It's ludicrous. And I really do feel that this should be split into 2 game weeks. I really do. And obviously FPL Tips that was on with us was making the point that, yeah, but it would just add to the... What was it? Add to the length of the season and stuff. That I'm not having a go at the guy. I'm just making the point that it doesn't matter. This is just... Funny enough, this is just a game. And I think that if the game, when it started, when it knew about this was going to be happening, this winter break was going to be happening. I mean, I call it a winter break. It's not really. They're getting a week off. But they knew this was happening. Maybe give us an extra chip. I don't know, like an additional wild card, or like maybe 2 free transfer, a 2 free transfer chip to accommodate for this particular. If it was split into 2 game weeks, I don't know. But me personally, I just think this game week's ridiculous. Do you know how close I want to swear on this? Because sometimes I find it very, very difficult not swearing. Members will attest to that. But I just feel like swearing kind of adds to it. But I just think this game week I really don't care about, because it's just spread across so much that I'm captain Aguero, that's it. And then whatever happens after, done. I couldn't care less. I really could not care less. And I think it would be fascinating splitting this into 2 game weeks, captaining 2 different players. Obviously, the majority of people will be going with Salah and Aguero, hence the thumbnail. But yeah, not really interested in this game. I mean, when we come to our predictions, when Phil and Aussie Boy do our prediction stuff, and anybody else that wants to come on, we're spreading it across literally, 9 days or whatever it is. Madness. But all I will say is that good morning to everybody that is joining us. I know quite a lot of people are obviously not from the UK. It is specifically a Southern Hemisphere stream. And Ray Joyce, the main man, is here. The guy that unfortunately had Snodgrass on the bench this particular game week. Unfortunate for him, but he is shooting up the ranks at the morning pal. Phil, I've already mentioned. Shadrach Malwa. I recognise the name, I'm sure I do. Aussie Boy's here, like I've just mentioned. Gavin Gould, J-Boy. These are names that I just don't see at all when we do the afternoon/evening streams. Our man Dylan's here. Our man, if your headphones are working or whatever technology you use to call in. I know we tried last time, but unfortunately not. Mr. Blue Nathan, aka Mr. Timestamps, is here. He's the individual that likes to do the timestamps for specifically the Match of the Day challenge, and of course the live reaction streams to the games. Also, he does do obviously the preview streams as well, but predominantly is them too. So good morning, Mr. Blue Nathan. Mr. Anderson's here. Yep, congratulations to a man, Dylan, being top. Cameron Rawcliffe, aka FPL Kid. Blimey, you're here. I haven't heard from you for a very, very, very long time. Good morning. Mark Burney's here. Afternoon, pal. Scott Speed 1000 here as well. Sydney Hammer, FPL Booner. James Bang. James Bang's here. Get live on air. Tobias, Matt Smith. There's loads of you here. Good morning to everybody. As you know, this is the Game Week 26 prediction show. I have got Phil and Aussie Boy to join me in about 2 seconds' time. And maybe some others. Yep, there are some others. FPL Aguero and Statman. FPL Aguero, you did. In fact, let's just bring them on, shall we? I'm sick to death of talking. We'll start with Phil. Phil's one of the very few English people that are here. So let's get him on his finished work. So, morning, Phil.
Morning, Steve. How's it going, pal?
All good. Just a quick question. I'm going to ask pretty much all of these guys. I know I asked you before, but I'm going to ask you again. Do you agree that this specific game week should be split into 2, so we almost essentially have 2 different captain choices. You can do whatever transfers you want. Essentially 2 different game weeks. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it would be a nice spin on the game week.
Do you think also the fact that the game obviously knew that this winter break would happen, maybe throwing like an additional chip, like, I don't know, 2 free transfers or 3, or whatever that chip may be?
I think first they wanted to see how it actually pans out, because as you see, it's not exactly a perfect split at the moment. But I mean, in the future, maybe it might be something they bring in.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you. So, good morning. Are you all ready? Are you all set for this particular game week? Ready to predict some score lines?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Let's bring on... I'm just going to do it in chronological order. Let's bring on Kev, a.k.a. Statman. Morning, Statman. Morning, Statman. You're live on air.
Alright, Steve, how's it going?
All good, my friend. We've got all day on this. What time is it over in New Zealand, mate?
Is it 7 o'clock? 7 p.m?
Brilliant. So it's an ideal time for you, I'm assuming.
It is, mate, it is. It's 8 o'clock, sorry. Caught us off by an hour. I thought you were streaming 7 a.m. my time tomorrow morning, so I was quite pleased to get the hour heads up that you were going live, so even better.
Do you think that the games missed a trick out on here this particular game week, and actually maybe splitting it into 2 and having the opportunity to essentially have 2 different teams and maybe throw in a different chip? Or do you think, nope, just stick to as it is, just this one whole game week?
No, I haven't really got a problem with it. I see everyone kicking up a fuss about having, the majority of their players playing later, next weekend or whenever the final games are. But I just think that adds the tension of the week and the anticipation in it. So some of your mates might get off to a flying start, and you've got your big boys coming later in the week. I haven't really got a problem, Steve.
Let's move on to FPL Aguero. Obviously was on last week for the Predictor show. Morning, FPL Aguero. Come on, Aguero, speak to us. I want to talk about your Callum Wilson captaincy last week. No.
Good morning, Steve-O.
Blimey, you sound like you're in a tunnel, mate. Where are you?
I just got back home, mate. It was a really, really late decision to change my captain, I must admit.
And you went on Vardy?
No, I went back to Salah. It was just
this conversation's ended. Let's bring on Aussie boy. You're a fraud, Aguero. Morning, Aussie boy.
Hey, how's it going?
All very good. You've had a solid start to your wild card, haven't you?
Yeah, well, I am in the midst of just tinkering around with the players, but yeah, the move paid off last week. Instead of going to KDB from Mane, I went to Son, and that worked out well. And then, now I've just hit the wild card button and making the team that I think will do well. Because the defense, it was mainly my defense was terrible, so I wanted to change that all up.
Oh, you haven't actually... Sorry, I thought you'd already hit the... You haven't actually hit the wild card yet?
Yes.
You've hit it now?
I have hit it.
After last game week?
I hit it like a few... Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Right, we'll get into that later on after we've done our predictions. But yes, as everybody knows, this is the Predictor show. And just to let everybody know just quickly that Jason is going to be doing the one for the evening stream tomorrow evening. So back to regularity when Jason comes back tomorrow. But yes, as we all know, it's a Predictor show. All you've got to do is just predict the scorelines. We play a bit of a game where you get 1 point for the correct outcome, 2 points for close enough, and 3 points for the score bang on. Last week I won again. It's the only thing I'm good at is predicting. I'm actually really happy as well because in the Super Brew game I'm now in the top 10,000. It's a bit of a skewed statistic because there's only 80,000 people that play that game, but I am actually climbing the ranks on that particular.
Who is that other guy that was like really high up?
Oh, Lino. Christ.
Yeah.
So for anybody that doesn't know, Lino is in the Elite FPL Predictor game. He's number 1. I think he's like 40 points ahead of me. But in the Super Brew game, he was 4th in the whole game. But he was number 1 in the Fantasy Football Scout League. So I wish him all the best. Lino representing Elite FPL, just like you will be, Phil, at Planet FPL. The more and more I listen to it, the more and more I'm interested in. Well, there's no interest about it. If I'm available, I'm no matter what. I really do want to go to the London one. I did want to ask you: have you actually been to the London one?
No.
Oh, you haven't. So this will be your first time.
They do look good though. Yeah, the one that Wiz went to last year looked really good as well. The one the Scout cast. Then I think.
Oh, yes, yeah, I know what you're on about. Yes, the one that the scouts do every Christmas, when they get all the people together in the communities. Predominantly, it's going to be obviously the guys at Fantasy Football Scout, but everybody's all welcome and stuff. And if anybody's unaware, basically, the guys at James and Suj, they're doing their live Planet FPL show in Manchester, where Phil and Brew are going to be participating, going up there on the 22nd, and it's in Manchester. So if anybody wants to go, I believe Manchester Reds is also going to be going to that particular show as well, hopefully. But if you are in or around the area, I truly do highly recommend you go. Did you listen to the Tottenham pod by any chance? Have you heard it yet, Phil?
No.
James has warned anybody that if Tottenham are doing really well in the particular fixture, do not go near him.
Yeah, he said not to go near him at all in one of the other streams. He said for 90 minutes, unless you're going to pass me a beer, do not say a thing to me.
It's absolutely fantastic, and I completely understand where it's coming from. Right then, guys. So we've got Aussie Boy, Phil, Kev, and Aguero live on air. We're going to start with all the predictions and everything, and then while we're doing this, guys, if you could just post your teams and the team screenshots as well, so then we can just bring it up when we go through with them. But yep, let's get on with the predictions. Let's see what you guys are thinking. As ever, I'll always kick things off, and then I'm just going to go in chronological order. It will be Aussie Boy going first, then Phil, then Kev, then FPL Aguero. It's Everton versus Crystal Palace, and I think this is going to be a really, really boring game, and I'm going to go 1-0. Aussie Boy.
This one, I think it's just going to be a 1-1. I don't think they'll keep clean sheets because, or maybe they will. I just got rid of a Palace defender and a Holgate from Everton. But I think it'll just be a 1-1. It will be 2 jammy goals and nothing much will happen in the game. I don't think.
Despite the fact that Crystal Palace can't seem to score a goal, you think that they're going to get one?
I think they can, but I don't know. Maybe it's changed now that I don't have an Everton defender anymore.
I'm going to do something which I shouldn't be doing, but let's just stuff it anyway. Let's get on James Bang. Morning, James. James, are you there? You're in the waiting room. When I'm live, mate, I'm going to bring on anybody.
Hello, Steve-O. How are you?
Good morning, James. You're live on air. I can't.
Can you hear me, Steve-O?
I can hear you loud and clear. I can't be bothered.
Hello?
Can you hear us? Oh, James can't. Can you not hear us, James?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
I can't be bothered to get you predicting on typing, so I'll just get you live on air. And I think this must be Ray Joyce. Is this Ray Joyce?
Hello.
Is this Ray?
Ray.
It is Ray Joyce.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The main man himself. I just want to quickly ask you your thoughts on bench and Snodgrass.
Yeah. It's just lovely having 18 points on the bench looking at you.
We'll get onto your team in a minute.
Who would you really...
I only had him in for the double game weeks, and then I thought I'd try something different and bring in St. Maximum from Newcastle, and that cost me 15 points.
Anyway, we're doing our predictions at the moment. Phil, you're up next. What do you think on Everton versus Crystal Palace?
2-0 Everton.
2-0 to Everton.
Richarlison. And hopefully Sidibe can get a clean sheet. I've had him for 3 weeks and he's got me 1-1-1. So...
But of course, it always happens when the popular transfer of a defender gets picked. He goes and fails, a bit like Danny Ings. Statman, your thoughts on Everton versus Crystal Palace?
Yeah, I'll probably echo Phil's 2-0. After they put 3 away last week, Palace. I don't fancy Palace to get a goal, so yeah, I'll go 2-0 as well, Steve.
FPL Aguero. Aguero, are you there?
Oh, I think he's in the waiting room.
Oh, see, he's gone off the waiting room. Yeah, there he is. All right, let's drag him back in. Aguero, are you there? No.
Well, and he's gone.
The joys of live radio, so to speak. James.
Should we take that as a 0-0?
Hello.
Before we continue, oh, here he is. Let's try and get him back on. Before we continue, James, where have you been for the past couple of weeks?
I've been travelling around Indonesia, Hong Kong, Korea, but I'm finally back now.
Is this holiday or is it business?
It was business related.
Make a lot of money, did you?
Trying, mate, trying.
We also, well, I did anyway. But everybody, if you want, by all means, James, if you want to throw the link into the what do you call it, the chat, by all means. But James did a wonderful, I don't know what I call it. What would you call it? A seminar last year about Bitcoin.
Yeah, I gave a presentation about investing in cryptocurrencies.
It's all up on YouTube. It's I'm going to be honest, James. It blew me away. It genuinely
thanks, Steve.
blew me away. Like the fact that you've got the confidence of standing in front of X amount of people and talking about a subject matter you're evidently passionate about. And just quickly, a quick reminder: you're donating I'm going to get this wrong. I know I will. 100 Bitcoin to the winner of the Champions League. Is that right?
Almost. 100 quid worth of Bitcoin.
100 worth of Bitcoin to the winner of the...
100 Bitcoin is an awful lot.
100 Bitcoin, I think, would be around £10 million.
I'll tell you what I found really funny was when you said something like, when Bitcoin first came out, if you had invested at the time, you'd be a millionaire. Is that right?
You would be more than a billionaire. You'd probably be worth close to $1 billion, because it's gone from essentially 1 pence to £10,000 in 10 years.
Wow, that is amazing. So whoever's going to win that Champions League, highly invest in whatever you need to do in that. I'm sure James will be able to go into that. But let's get back to the predictions. We'll get back to Aguero in a second. James, your prediction for Everton versus Crystal Palace?
Yeah, 2-1 to Everton, because in the last 6 fixtures at Goodison Park, Palace have actually scored in 5 out of the 6 fixtures. So I'll go for a 2-1.
Nice bit of history there. FPL Aguero, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm going to go with home team win 1-0.
1-0. And finally, Mr. Ray Joyce, Everton Crystal Palace.
2-1 because I've got Holgate.
What, you don't think he's going to keep a clean sheet? He may get an assist, though.
Yeah, but I'll score in the 95th minute to take this clean sheet off him.
And then score again.
Yeah, that Newcastle game was, it was disgusting, basically. Let's move on to, this is going to be one of the drab games of the particular game week. It is Brighton versus Watford. I think this is going to be absolutely terrible, although I do not rate Brighton whatsoever. I think they're awful, and I think Watford are going to beat them, and I'm going to go 2-1. Aussie boy.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-0 to Watford. I've lost all hope in the only team with Aussies. And because Matt Ryan's just annoyed me, and I reckon he's just crap. So, you know what? I don't think they'll get anything. They'll play Glenn Murray again, and then nothing's going to happen.
Phil?
I've gone 2-2.
2-2, another high-scoring game?
Yeah. I did have it on 3-3, but I've just come down to 2-2.
What? Why do you think it's going to be such a high-scoring game?
I just see them both going at each other. They're both down that sort of area in the table, if I believe. So they need to be going for wins.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Kev?
Phil seemed like we're on the same wavelength this week. I'm going for a 1-1. I do think they'll both go for it, like Phil's just said, but maybe not have the quality to put away many chances. But a score draw, 1-1.
Matt Smith's going 3-3 as well. I don't know. And Matt Smith's also going with a high-scoring 4-0 win to Everton. Things can happen, but I just can't see it. FPL Aguero?
I'm going 2-1 for Brighton.
Oh, you think they're going to turn it around and put Watford back into the relegation zone?
Yeah, I think they're going to win that game.
James?
Well, they're both fighting for their Premiership survival, so I think it's going to be scrappy 1-1.
And Ray Joyce?
2-2, I reckon. Score draw.
Wow, a lot of draws here. Yeah, I think Nigel Pearson, he has actually stated that he can't lose these games, and I do think it's going to be a lot tighter, but I just think that Watford's quality will just shine through. Wow, this is going to be an interesting one. I think that two teams in really good form at the moment, and as we all know, when Bournemouth seem to get on a run of fixtures, i.e. when they start winning games, they go on a bit of a run, and they could be decent assets, although as Aguero, you found out the other day that Callum Wilson wasn't, albeit you changed your captaincy, but it's Sheffield United versus Bournemouth. I honestly think they're just going to cancel each other out, and I'm going to go 1-1. Aussie boy?
I'm going to go 1-0 to Sheffield because I have double Sheffield United fans.
Phil?
2-1 Sheffield United.
You think Sheffield United are actually going to score more than one goal?
Yeah, they've got to occasionally.
Yeah. Very, very true. Kev?
1-0 to Sheffield.
FPL Aguero, do you have any faith in Callum Wilson this particular fixture?
2-1 Bournemouth. Wipe those clean sheets off.
So you think that Bournemouth are now going to start going on a run of wins then, do you?
Yeah, I predicted them last week to win, and I think they're gonna do Sheffield a number this week. I reckon, maybe.
James?
I love their new signing, Sanderberg, replacing John Lundstrom in the lineup, who's a much more defensive player. So I reckon they'll keep a clean sheet, 1-0.
And finally, Ray Joyce.
1-1.
You're agreeing with me.
Goal to Rico, goal to Lundstrom. That'll suit.
Now then. This is the big one. It's probably going to be what a lot of people are going to be wondering whether to captain a Man City asset or not. They're up against West Ham United. And I've already stated I'm going with Aguero captain, so that's done. But I don't want to talk about rotation or anything. I think he will start, and I think they're going to punish West Ham. I think that they're going to be there for the take, and I think it's going to be like blood for the sharks, so to speak. And I'm going to go 4-0 to Man City. Aussie boy.
I think that it's going to be 3-1 City.
You think West Ham are going to actually score?
I think they'll squeeze one past them late in the game. Because I feel like City, sometimes when they have it locked in, then they might slack off a bit and they may let in. Because I don't know if Laporte back. I'm not sure. Because if he's not, I reckon they'll definitely concede.
I think he was given a rest due to fatigue. Does anybody here know what happened with Laporte last game? Was it just fatigue?
I believe the same what you just said, fatigue. They wanted to rest him more. I know they've got the Champions League game, the game after West Ham.
No, it's not till the 22nd. Liverpool are the team that have got the Champions League straight after their game. That's why I'm a bit interested in whether Salah plays or not. He will do, but it'd be interesting to see what Klopp does, because their game is actually followed up by the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. So Phil, your thoughts on Man City versus West Ham?
I agree with Ozzy, 3-1. I think West City do fall asleep from time to time. Someone like Antonio, if he gets enough space, he can ping a decent shot.
Yeah,
an odd corner or something, they can get lucky.
Yeah, Suj was talking about Antonio. If they get him back up and running, he could be the key to West Ham's survival. But against Man City, no chance. But you never know. They could be the coupon busters. And I want to make this point again. Man City should have won that game 3, 4, 5-0 against Tottenham, but they just couldn't put their chances away. But whatever.
Just a shout out, a player to keep an eye on might be that Bowen that signed for West Ham this week.
Yes. Yeah, Suj was talking about him and said that he should be starting ahead of Allaire. So certainly someone. How much is he in the game, Phil?
I'm not sure. Give me 1 second.
Probably
6.5 midfielder.
How much, Ray?
6.5.
6.5
midfielder.
midfielder.
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting. So yeah, absolutely, certainly, potentially an out-of-position player. Although they're up against Man City and Liverpool next, so maybe West Ham to avoid at the moment. But
fixtures aren't that appealing.
Well, West Ham aren't appealing, full stop. But if they've got an attacking player in their team,
if you see how Bowen can compete against these big teams, when West Ham I think they've got 4 or 5 nice fixtures towards the end. If he's going to need to score to keep them up, it might be worth having a look at.
brilliant.
Yeah,
3-4 week eye test, I think.
Absolutely. Kev, your thoughts on Man City versus West Ham?
Yeah, I'll be keeping a hold of Aguero and sticking the armband on him. I can't see anything but an absolute onslaught from City from the first minute. But I do think they'll pinch a goal. Not just that City slack off, last week they looked good going forward. Do you know what I mean? Until it all fell apart. They put 3 away and you thought, here we'll go. This is what West Ham needed, and obviously the defence threw it away. But I'll go 4-1. Aguero hat-trick.
4-1. Well, talking of Aguero, FPL Aguero, are you going to be captaining him for this particular fixture?
No, how can you not captain him against West Ham? The worst midfield, worst defence, worst everything. Away to City, I'm going 7-0.
Yes, brother.
Did you, in all seriousness, they beat him 5-0 at the Olympic Stadium. You truly do think 7-0?
I just can't. I just don't rate West Ham at all. That I did at the start, but like that Noble guy, what does he play? How does he still play in the Premier League? I know he's getting old, but they got some average footballers in that side, and I think they're going to get destroyed. That City this week.
Well, let's just put it this way: knowing my luck, and also Kev's luck this season, it probably will end up 7-0, and Aguero just gets an assist. James,
I think Sterling's out for 2 weeks, Steve. I think.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So,
Well, as you like to say, Steve-O, West Ham are a bunch of clowns. So with a manager like David Moyes, they ain't got a chance. 3-0 to City.
Ray Joyce, are you confident in City smashing West Ham?
Yep. And I'm confident Snodgrass will get returns again on my bench. 4-1.
The FPL bias there coming in. Now then.
Just Aguero 7-0 is 40-1 on Betfair.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
I may have put a cheeky pound on that if that was the case, but so we then finished that particular game week on Sunday, and by the way, I will be covering that particular fixture, so you can again watch the ups and downs of that particular game. At least it's on Sunday afternoon at 4:30. We then have to wait until the following Friday, is it, for the next game, which is Wolves versus Leicester. I think this is going to be a really, really tough game for both teams. However, I think Leicester are just they're awful at the moment. They're out of form, and I think Wolves are going to pip them. And I think it's just going to. I was going to go 1-1, but I just changed it in Wolves' favour, and I'm going to go 2-1 to Wolves. Aussie boy.
I'm going to go 3-1 Wolves, Jimenez hat-trick, and hopefully a fun.
Is that?
I just think, yeah.
Is that FPL?
Home for Wolves.
Is that FPL bias because you own Jimenez?
Maybe.
That sounds like a preview into Aussie's wildcard thing.
But I reckon, I don't know, maybe 2-1, 3-1. I just can't see Leicester winning away at Wolves. I just think Wolves are just such a good team, and they just play well against teams with quality. because, and I consider Leicester one of the better teams at the moment, just based on their quality, and they'll be able to shut them down, maybe even keep a clean sheet, but I think Leicester will squeeze one by them.
Morning, Jack Parry, Alazim, Tarek. Thanks for contributing. A gravy day of contributing to the predictions. Phil, your thoughts on Wolves versus Leicester?
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. It'd be a tough game. I've gone 1-1.
Oh, yeah.
I just think they're going to pretty much cancel each other out.
Yeah, I was very close with that. I just think Wolves' form at the moment just slightly better, and I'd like to think they'd edge past Leicester. Kev?
Yeah, once again, I wish you'd put us in a different order because I sound like I'm copying Phil, but I'll go 1-1. They've only scored more than one in the last 4-1 at home, and funny enough, that was against City. So, it's a big game. I'll cancel out each other in a 1-1 draw.
FPL Aguero.
I agree. 1-1 draw. Big game for both.
James?
They are the 1-1 specialist, Wolves, but having looked at the history, the last 2 matches at the Molineux actually ended 4-3, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
So I'm going to go for a higher score draw at 2-2.
2-2. Ray Joyce, I can see you've just written in the chat. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Leicester will nick it 1-0.
Why do you think they'll nick it 1-0? They can't seem to keep a clean sheet. Wolves that do like to score. Why do you think they will nick it?
Oh, well, it's about time Vardy did something, so penalty right at the end.
Yeah. The key word being like to think he'll do something, but I don't know, not against that Wolves defence. Now let's move on to Southampton Burnley. I know FPL Boona has incredibly gone and doubled up. Has he actually officially done this, Phil? He's officially gone with Shane Long and Ings up front.
I'm not 100% sure.
I've been 100%. I saw it on Twitter. Unless you take the shit to reverse it.
That's official then. He's actually gone and doubled up on Long versus Ings. Well, in my opinion, I think that's... Say that again, Aguero?
I think he took out Mupai and another player. I forgot who it was. Another striker.
Well, I'll bring it up. Well, there it is there. I mean, it's up on screen and... well, there it is. He is officially doing it. It's right there in front of us. Dre Zera, good morning, pal. It is confirmed. And I think that's well, do what you like. I couldn't care less. In fact, I'm gonna do a rant later, possibly, or get your guys' thoughts on my particular issue with a certain comment made about another content creator that really irked me, and I felt like backing this particular individual up because it really annoyed me what this individual said about this content creator's team. But yes, here he is. It is official. Long and Ings up against Burnley. And I'm sorry, Boona, but I think that we're going to win. Southampton's home record is terrible. At the moment, they're on a bit of form, but Burnley, when we do well, we just seem to nick these wins. And I think that honestly, Burnley are going to beat Southampton 2-1. Although I do think that Danny Ings will probably score against us, against his former club. I do like that score prediction from Tarek there saying 2-2. I do think this could be a relatively high scoring game, but I do think that Burnley could nick this one. Aussie boy.
I'm going 1-0 to Southampton. I just can see the way they played against us. I can easily see them doing well, and maybe FPL bias with the clean sheet, but that's just always going to come into. I think it's going to be a 1 Ings goal.
Phil?
Well, I think a lot of this will depend on how they fare tonight against Tottenham. If that goes the distance, I don't see there be many goals. I've just gone 1-0 Southampton for this.
Gravy Day asking, who would you go with, Rodriguez or Chris Wood? Chris Wood seems to be the one that seems to be scoring, but Jay Rodriguez, I
Yeah,
personally would
I
rather
like the look
have.
of him.
I think that Jay Rodriguez is a really, really good striker. He likes to take his opportunities. He only just about missed out on a goal the other day versus Arsenal. Very, very unlucky, but Rodriguez is taking his opportunity, and I really do think that he would be the differential pick, but Wood would be the safety. James?
Yes.
Sorry to be a pain. If you could just mute your mic when you're not live on air. There's a lot of feedback coming through on the stream. Drezer is saying, Steve, as a Burnley fan, are you proud of their grit and change of form, or are you more like, bloody hell, will you go back to being poo? At the end of the day, we are quite literally, just as you stated, a hit and miss team. We just, when we seem to win, it's a case of we just build a bit of confidence, build up on that, and then we come up against a team which, we know for a fact we can't win, and then we lose against that, and then our confidence just drains away again. So it's just quite literally an up and down season for Burnley, and really, that Arsenal game could have gone in Arsenal's favour if Aubameyang, and we'll talk to Phil about that in a second, if Aubameyang had actually scored a couple of quote-unquote easy chances. But reality being is that it's Arsenal, and they're absolutely pants. Sydney Hammer, thank you. Really appreciate that. You really didn't have to donate that amount of money, but thank you anyway. Thanks, Steve and Elite FPL community. This is all to you guys. Steve and Elite FPL community, love all the streams and the Discord. Really do appreciate that. I know
Top guy Sydney. I talk to him quite a bit in Discord.
Tell us about him. Tell us about your opinion of Discord, Phil, and your love of it.
It's a haven. It's the best place for FPL players. If there's just so many of us in there all the time, night and day. There's me, there, Aguero, Ozzy's always in, Lama, Davey, Vince. It's just such a big community.
Yes, it is quite incredible getting all these people from quite literally across the world. I mean, remind us where you are again, James.
I am currently in Korea, but I'm based in Hong Kong.
Absolutely crazy. And you're obviously a very high advocate of this Discord as well.
It's an amazing community. Like Phil said, 24/7. If you just want to chat to someone about FPL, there's always someone there.
Absolutely. Well, talking of chatting, Phil, this particular fixture, sorry, you gave us a score, and I've completely forgotten it. Southampton Burnley, what did you say it was?
1-0.
To Southampton?
Yeah.
So that's two people in a row saying 1-0 to Southampton. Kev, do you have any faith in Burnley?
Like you say, is a very hitty miss, aren't you? Like you can pull out the win you came away with from Old Trafford, and then lose to Villa in the previous week or two. So I just think the Saints looked really good in that first half against Liverpool. Not in the second half. Liverpool put their foot on the gas and showed their worth, but I just fancy Southampton to win quite comfortably. 2-0 I'll go for.
Sorry, I was completely... What was that? 2-1 to Southampton?
2-0. 2-0 Southampton.
Blimey, nothing's...
I like that.
Nothing's looking good here. Aguero?
So I'm going to go with a controversial pick. Yeah, I'm going to go for 0-0. I think both teams are on holiday.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Need a point.
I'll take that.
I'll take it as well. I'll take any points.
I'm a big fan of Kev's prediction, by the way. 2-0, long brace. Let's go, baby.
Who was that then? Was that Boona?
Sorry, I had to crash the party there.
Boona, do you truly think that bringing in Shane Long and Ings is going to pay off?
No, but you know what? I'm enjoying the game right now, and there's so many people playing so many boring moves, and it's like, remember, it is just a game. Like, you're not going to die if it doesn't pay off. It's not a big deal.
That's true.
I genuinely couldn't care less, honestly. And I feel like the rest of the team makes up for it anyway. We've seen the midfield. Absolute dynamite, mate.
Yeah, for people listening audio, it is Son, Salah, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Mane. Suj of Planet FPL is actually going to be bringing in Mahrez and captaining him versus West Ham. I'm actually genuinely thinking, maybe I could do something like you're confident in the City game. What are your thoughts on that particular fixture?
Yeah, I think they're going to absolutely annihilate West Ham, to be honest. If I owned Aguero, without a shout, I'd be captaining him. I think he's going to go absolutely ballistic. But I just didn't have the capacity to bring him in because I don't really want to get rid of Mane or Mahrez to fund him. There's no point.
FPL Aguero was predicting 7-0 to Man City. Do you think it'd be that high scoring, or do you think like with me, it could be like 3-4-0?
I think it could be up to 5. I don't know about 7, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if it's 5. No.
A lot of people think that. Well, everybody. Ozzy, Phil, Kev, Ray all think that West Ham have got an opportunity of scoring. Do you think they will?
Yeah, City are always susceptible on the break, or they kind of switch off when they're like 3-4 up. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did score. And I was listening to that earlier, and I was agreeing. Yeah.
Dre Zera making a point, and I have a feeling that Jesus will start because he hasn't started recently, and Pep does love a roulette. Do you think that will happen, or do you think that no, Aguero?
Yeah, no, I think they could both start. I think they could even be a 3-5-2 with Jesus and Aguero up top. To be honest.
What?
Yeah, Mendy will be back in the lineup as well, maybe because you think I got up.
Who was that? Sorry.
Mendy might be back in the lineup, so he can play in a 3-5-2.
I tell you who I'm excited for whose return I'm excited for. The man, the myth, the legend, Leroy Sané. I've always loved that player. So I'm quite excited for when he does return. I tell you, he's going to be straight back in my team. How much is he? Does anyone know by any chance? I presume he's still 995.
Not a clue. I'm sure someone will be able to find that in a minute.
Cool.
But he probably is around that. Yeah, you are completely right, about 9.5. Has he returned to training at all?
9.3.
Yeah, I think he's in training, but I don't think he's match fit yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on the bench soon, though. Especially with Sterling out now for potentially 2 to 3 weeks. Unconfirmed officially, but City correspondents on Twitter are saying that he's likely out for a bit.
Who's going to be taking over?
Holiday. Sterling's on holiday.
Say that again, Aguero.
I think Sterling's on holiday.
Oh, what, with this, because he's just had this injury? Or I mean, some people are saying that Pep's just run him into the ground, hence the injury and everything. It's just a fatigue
I agree.
injury.
He had too many games for club and country last season.
Yeah,
they're human. They're gonna break down, man.
Were you asking who's going to be starting over Sterling then, Stephen?
Yes, yeah. Who would that be?
I think it's either going to be Jesus, or he could even deploy Mahrez on the left and Bernardo Silva on the right. Something like that, anyway.
I did joke earlier on when we were predicting it that it probably will end up 7-0 and Aguero just gets an assist. I mean, what's the likelihood of it being a bit like that? In fact, I'll probably bring it up actually. What do you think it would be like the game when they played Brighton and it just was points coming from everywhere, like back in game week, 4 or something like that? Let's just quickly bring it up for a second here. Do you think that if it was to say end 3 or 4-0, do you think the goals are going to be and assists are spread across everywhere, or do you think it will be actually be a case of no, it will come from one source and one source only?
This is the sort of game where Bernardo Silva will probably score a hat-trick and no one owns him.
Yeah, so they beat in game week.
That game already went past, Bruno.
in game week 4, they beat Brighton 4-0. Aguero got 2 goals and an assist. De Bruyne a goal and an assist. David Silva with 2 assists. Bernardo Silva with the other goal. And I believe it was the following week, I can't remember now, when they beat Watford 8-0. When was that, Phil?
Week 6.
Oh, here we are.
6.
Game week 6, yeah. So when they beat Watford 8-0, admittedly Watford were, as James alluded to, a bunch of clowns. We had Bernardo Silva with a hat-trick, Otamendi, Aguero, De Bruyne, Mahrez, David Silva, all with a goal each, and then De Bruyne with 2 assists, Mahrez, Otamendi, Aguero, and David Silva. The question is, though, is that will Man City be that potent in attack? Because I'll ask you, Boona, honestly, City should have beaten you on Sunday last week, and Aguero could have had at least a goal in the first half.
Could have, would have, should have.
100%, Steve. They should have been out of sight first half. It could have been 3-0. Aguero should have taken the penalty and finished and scored it, and the game would have been out of sight. We would have dropped our heads, and yeah, it would have been that. But it's a game of should haves and all that. And for once, the luck was on our side, and it rarely has been these past few seasons.
Do you think, I asked earlier on, or I started off the show essentially talking about it, that do you think that FPL/football betting is just summed up by that particular game, where if Aguero had taken his chances, then mine and Lewis's captaincy of Aguero was a piece of genius. But obviously it didn't go that way, and it's just those little margins which change the course of the season, particularly in fantasy football.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and VAR is having a massive impact on it as well. The number of goals it's ruling out, like penalties and stuff. I remember going to the Spurs thingy game over Christmas. It might have been Watford on Boxing Day, and Kane scored a penalty, or he scored a goal, and it was then given offside. And it's just, it's getting quite frustrating. But yeah, you can't do nothing about it. If VAR is going to rule these things out, they're going to rule it out. But it is ruining football a bit.
No, absolutely. And talking of getting back to football, James Bang, we're talking about Southampton versus Burnley. Everybody seems to think that Southampton are going to win 1-0, 2-0, maybe 0. Essentially, Southampton to get a clean sheet. I do think this is FPL bias, but whatever. James, do you have any hope for Burnley?
Absolutely. I'm scared of Burnley. You beat us lot 2-0 last week. So I reckon you'll actually beat Southampton 2-0. But because I own Danny Ings, I'm going to go with 2-1.
They're not going to keep 4 clean sheets in a row. It's going to be like 2-2, I think.
But again, is that FPL bias, or do you truly think that?
No, I truly think that. I'm not saying that Southampton are going to win. And I've got McCarthy in goal, so it's definitely not FPL bias, but I think it's going to be a 1-1, 2-2, something like that. I don't see Burnley keeping a clean sheet 4th time in a row, though. Just the balance of probabilities suggests to me that they're due to concede.
Well, I mean, the Daily Llama's making a joke here. Good morning, pal. But did you actually take a hit for that?
Yes, I did take a hit for that, and I love it.
And could you just remind the audience who don't know what specific moves you did?
You're trying to make everyone laugh at me, Steve. But anyway, I got rid of Calvert-Lewin, more of a long-term thought because of his fixtures upcoming, and Watford up till recently, apart from last game week, have been quite defensively strong. So Calvert-Lewin and Mopay went out, and I brought in Ings and Long, and I banked 1.3 million.
Nice. Very, very nice indeed. Sydney Hammer asking, Steve, I've generally been looking at Jay Rodriguez, 4 shots in the box last weekend, and has been looking really good since then, since Barnes got injured. Like I said, it's one of those where Jay Rodriguez is taking his opportunity. I think he's a top quality striker, and if DICE just allows us to play attacking football, Jay Rodriguez is a wonderful player to not only have in real life, but also from an FPL perspective, he will get you points. However, from a safety point of view, Chris Wood is probably your best bet. But for a differential, Sydney Hammer, certainly J Rod. But don't expect goals. Maybe 1 goal hit every other game or something like that. But yeah, I wouldn't.
As long as he stops those 2-yard bar tapping kind of misses. That was terrible. What was that from 2 yards out? Do you remember when he hit the crossbar against Arsenal?
To be honest, I didn't actually see it, to be fair.
Yeah,
but,
it was 2 yards out, and he bangs it against the cross-yard. Open goal, no goalie in there.
Brilliant. Thanks. Ray Joyce, you can finally get your prediction on Southampton versus Burnley.
I'd like Burnley to get a goal here. Or even 1-0 to Burnley. There you go.
Am I going mad? Are you a Southampton fan?
Yes, I am. Yep.
You are. So your thoughts on Southampton assets, and more importantly, Boona buying Shane Long?
Oh, please. Don't ruin my life here, please.
I'm not sure Long would be the way I'd go. I had Ward-Prowse earlier in the season. He, on all the set pieces is not a bad asset to have. Ings and Ward-Prowse would be the two I'd probably go for. Or Bertrand in defence.
Yeah, I know Dave. I think it's Dave. Does Davey P own a Bertrand? Someone in our Cash Money League.
Yeah, David P does.
There's another one now.
There's another. Is that you, Aussie boy, by any
No,
chance?
I'm not going near Walker Peters.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is, if Shane Long, so far as gets an assist, I'm having an absolute party. Anyway, sorry.
Sorry, Ray. What did you think the score would be?
I was thinking 2-1 to Burnley, but I'll go 1-0 Burnley.
Why so pessimistic on the fact that you're a Southampton fan? You think we're going to win? We think we're going to win?
I think they've done really well the last few weeks. Yeah, safely middle of the table, and now I don't know that they've got much to play for.
Interesting. Morning, Mr. Reed. We'll be coming on to your game in about half an hour's time because it's so far away in the fixture list. In fact, Booner, I'll ask you your thoughts on this particular game week spread across 9 days or whatever it is. Do you think my idea of maybe having 2 separate game weeks within one, and maybe the game itself giving you an extra chip to accommodate, maybe like, I don't know, a chip which gives you 2 free transfers or something, do you reckon that would work? Or do you I apologise who it was, but I think it was Phil that said this, maybe if it was like a literal split, so 5 matches in one game week and then 5 matches the following, maybe next season that could happen. What do you think?
No, I quite like it how it is, Stephen. The reason I say that is I think it's going to test the resolve of everyone's teams, and it's going to create some. I reckon it's going to create some frustration as well, because I can imagine there being like injuries like announced like midweek next week or something for people that are playing on a Sunday, Saturday next week. I think it's going to be quite interesting, to be honest.
Do you think that would happen though? I mean, I can't. Don't get me wrong.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I would love it myself, but
yes, same here. As long as
What should be Aguero? Oh no, he's playing this weekend.
Yeah, that's why I think a lot of managers are also considering captaincy for City assets this weekend, because they know they're definitely going. Well, they know if there's going to be any injuries or not. Whereas we don't know if Salah's going to get injured. Imagine I captain Salah, right? Which I'm doing at the moment, and I've got Vice on Mane, who's also flagged, and Salah gets injured and Mane doesn't play. Absolute beep ache. Do you know what I'm saying? So.
Would that be stupid to Vice Mane though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, true. Is anyone here considering a Man City captaincy? Because I imagine a lot of people are going.
I Aguero's a lock for me.
Oh, you're on Aguero. Oh, yeah. God,
mate, honestly, that
I need to put some money on Aguero. I think I need to put like 20 quid on him to score a brace.
If there is anybody stupid enough to come to Elite FPL for quote unquote tips and advice, here's the biggest tip you can get from me. Anything that I do the complete opposite, and you're going to come out big. But talking of that particular fixture, Liverpool, it is Norwich at home to Liverpool, and once again, I think Liverpool can continue their clean sheet form, and I think it's going to end 3-0 to Liverpool. Aussie boy, it's your team. What do you think?
Yep, 4-0. Bang. Easy. Bobby 2 goals, Salah 2 goals. Trent all 4 assists would be great.
4-0. They don't seem to be beating teams. That they beat. I can't remember who it was. Oh, it was Southampton, of course, 4-0. But let's be honest here. In fact, Ray Joyce, what happened in that game? Did Southampton just capitulate? What actually happened for them to concede?
They were good in the first half.
Yeah. Aussie boy said they actually played pretty well in the first half.
Yeah, they did. Danny looked good.
Yeah, once they conceded a couple,
So
the train's coming. They just got run over.
What do you think actually happened there, though?
Well, Liverpool are good.
Hey.
But the thing is, though, is that were the opportunities that Salah was given, were they just given to him on a plate, or was it the case of no, this took the quality of him as a player?
He's insane.
Yeah, he's coming. The last 2 or 3 weeks, he's really seemed to be finding his feet again.
Well, you said
Mane's out.
You said in the chat that he's got you over 100 points. Is that right, over the last few weeks?
He's got me 100 points in the last 4 weeks. Yep.
So you've captained him every single time?
No, only 3 of them.
Right.
I triple captained one of them.
Morning, Jerry Millen. It's 3 p.m. in Thailand. Welcome all the way from over there. Phil, your thoughts on Norwich versus Liverpool?
Well, I think the defensive wall is going to come to a halt this week. I've gone 4-1 Liverpool.
So you reckon they're going to repeat what they did in game week 1?
1, yeah.
Oh, Kev, what do you think?
I'm going to go 3-1. Norwich have only not scored at home once all season. They're always good for a goal at home. And like you say, Southampton made them look a bit average defensively. I don't, and to be honest, Bucky looked pretty sharp against us. He was unlucky not to get a couple. He should have had at least one, you know. But Liverpool class and attacking prowess will go through. So 3-1.
Well, Davey P is tempted by Trent Alexander-Arnold captaincy. Funny enough, legitimately, so was I. But I thought there's a chance he may get rested because, in fact, Aussie boy, a few days later, you lot are playing Atletico Madrid. Is there a chance of resting any players?
I don't know. Because maybe I just think because I think the player, because Klopp doesn't usually want to rest more than one of the big guys, or maybe sort of stretch. So I think he's going to just look at Mane as being the rested, and then he's going to just play. I don't know, because I have a triple up on Liverpool, but I think play the usual team, probably the same as last week as well, I think.
I completely forgot mentioning this. They obviously won last night 1-0 against Shrewsbury. You happy with that result, or you just couldn't care less?
I'm pretty happy with because you know, it was the kids playing, no Klopp manager either, so I think it was a pretty good result.
Yeah. Boona, you'll have kept on top of things, or anybody here that may have watched the game or kept on top. How did Shrewsbury play last night? Or was it just a case of this is just a dire game and Liverpool was just a procession for them?
I actually didn't watch the game. Apologies, Stephen.
Oh, don't apologise. Did anybody watch the game at all? Anybody know anything about it?
Shrewsbury had a lot of chances in the first half.
And they just didn't take them, obviously, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Typical. It would have just been brilliant if they were knocked out, but you know, if you can't take your opportunity in the first game or even the second game,
we want Liverpool players to go through, Steve. Liverpool need to go through.
What for? Well, that's a question. What ramifications does this have for later on in the season?
Well, they play Chelsea in the next round. If they can beat Chelsea, then they're blank 31 and then potentially get another double.
Oh, really? So,
Yeah.
people like me with all their chips. In fact, I'm playing all my chips right towards the end when I know what's going on, but we don't need to talk about that yet. FPL Aguero, your opinion on Norwich versus Liverpool?
I honestly think Salah will not play more than 60 minutes. Then.
Good thing he doesn't need 60 minutes to do damage then.
But I think Mane will get 30 as well, because he's going to need to play a bit of minutes before the Atletico Madrid game. So I think I'm going to go 2-1 Liverpool.
2-1, so you think it's going to be a tight game? And do you reckon there's a chance Shaqiri may get an opportunity? Or is he injured?
I think he's injured.
I think it's 50%.
We play Minamino, I reckon.
What about Origi, Aussie boy?
I don't know. Yeah, mate. It depends with how Klopp wants to play, because I think at the moment, whenever we're subbing on an attacker, it always seems to be Minamino at the moment. So I don't think I think he's trying to get him experience because he's young as well. Biggie's time will come maybe in the Champions League and things like that.
Interesting. James.
Steve, before you carry on, I need to head off, pal. So I'm going to listen in the background.
thank you,
cheers
Boona.
for having me on. I appreciate that. No worries.
Jason's on tomorrow.
Take
You
care.
can join him as well. Cheers,
Cool.
Boona. James,
I mean,
your
if
thoughts?
Norwich can score at Anfield and Liverpool has one eye on that Atletico fixture, I don't see why they can't score at home. But I don't think they'll get smashed because of possible rotation. And, with one eye on the Champions League match, I reckon they'll win around 3-1.
3-1. And finally, Ray.
Pretty standard 3-0. just continue their march.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think until they mathematically are confirmed as champions of the league, I think they're just going to win every single game. I mean, ironically, Booner leaves us. Maybe he left us because of this particular next fixture. It's Aston Villa versus Spurs. When Lewis was on the other day along with Charlie, we noticed that the only time that Spurs seem to win is by close games 2-1, and that's what I think is going to happen here. I think that this is going to be a tight game, and I think that Spurs are just going to come out on this 2-1. Aussie boy?
I'm gonna go 2-1 as well there. I think Spurs might be up and about and just I think they'll be good after last week. You know, they've had a big win against City, and I think 2-1, and I think they'll let the late in to some matter.
I mean, Booner straight away about Bergwijn. Did you watch the game, Aussie boy, when Man City lost 2-0?
I watched like the 20-minute highlights, and he looked good. He was like pressing around the pitch, had that cracking goal. Yeah, he looks good, but I don't know if I'd bring him in yet because, you know, he hasn't been playing. He's only played one game. We don't know. He might just get benched next week. We don't know much yet.
Morning Fantasy Football Focus. You're more than welcome to join us later on the Discord waiting room. It'd be great to have you on. Phil, Aston Villa versus Spurs.
Yeah, again, depending on how tonight's game goes with Southampton, but I was going to be the same as you, but I just changed it to 3-1. 3-1 Tottenham.
You think they're going to actually get some goals? Kev, do you think Spurs will get a load of goals, or do you think this is going to be a really tight game?
Somewhere in the middle. I agree with you, Steve-O. I think Spurs will win 2-1. It wouldn't surprise us if Villa pull out a draw. You know, Tottenham are that inconsistent, but maybe the new signing and maybe Mourinho's, you know, going to get a bit of second wind towards the back end of the season. So I'll agree with you and go 2-1, mate.
Morning, Paulie. Welcome to the show, pal. FPL Aguero, do you think Son is worth a captaincy in this particular fixture?
Well, I don't know, because last week they only had like 3 shots on target the whole game, and 2 of them were goals. So I don't think Spurs are like that gone any better, but I don't know. Maybe it could be a decent shout, but I'm staying away from Son this week. I'm going to go 1-1 Aston Villa.
What's his name again? How do you pronounce that name there? Adriango. Last time I captained Son, he got a red. Never again. Yeah. Sorry, Aguero. Did you say 3-1?
No, 1-1.
1-1. Oh, I don't like that as a Burnley fan. James?
I'm actually going for a 1-1 as well. I feel like Spurs are going to, you know, give you one of those letdown games after that big win against City. Typically happens a lot, you know, after a huge win. A team will let you down the following week. So I reckon this will be a bit of an upset here. And Villa's fighting for their lives.
Mr. Anderson's going 2-2. Ray Joyce, do you think this is going to be an upset for Mourinho, or do you think that, no, they're just going to pull through this?
Yeah, I think you guys are onto it. 2-1. But more importantly, Grealish will blank for the third week in a row.
Well, of course he will, because I brought him in, and we all know how mine.
A lot of people have.
But Steve, I have got rid of him, so you never know now.
Well, I was thinking of getting rid of him for Harvey Barnes, but I just think now I'll just hold off. Maybe Jack Grealish may want to prove something, because obviously Spurs were considering buying him and they never went through with it. So you never know. He may want something to prove to Tottenham. He missed out on an assist. He assisted the assister last time, so hopefully he'll come good in this particular game. Now we move on to Kev's team. It's Newcastle. They're away at Arsenal, so Arsenal at home to Newcastle. I think this again is going to be a really boring, tight game, and I really do think that Arsenal are just going to edge this 1-0, and all those Lascelles owners will be gutted that they brought him in, but you know, whether they play him or not is a different question. Aussie boy, Arsenal versus Newcastle.
I'm gonna go 1-0.
Wow.
Yeah, I just think Arsenal are absolute crap, and excuse my language, but
What's your tone, Aussie boy?
I think, but yeah, I just think Newcastle they're not the best team, but you know, I just see them drawing against the drawers. So what can you do?
Interesting. We'll get Kev's thoughts in a second. Phil?
I've gone 4-2 Arsenal.
Shut up.
Kim,
Yeah.
you wait a minute.
Number one, Arsenal can't score goals. Number two, Newcastle can't score goals. And yet you think they're going to score more goals in this one game than they have across the season. I mean, what? Do you really think that?
Stranger things happen. That's what I put down. I did have 3. Yeah, 4-2. Sod it. Aubameyang hat-trick. Let's go.
Davey P saying, I'd be keen to know the history in this fixture as an Aubameyang owner. Unfortunately, I haven't actually done the history on this particular fixture, but I can go through it in a minute if I remember, which I will do because I'll let these guys speak about their teams. But okay, I will do that. All I've done is the history for Aguero and Salah, and we'll come to that in a second. Kev, obviously it's your team. Newcastle away at Arsenal. Are you agreeing with Phil? It's going to be goals galore, or do you think a really tight game like me?
I don't think it'll be that tight. Our record against Arsenal is absolutely appalling. You know what I mean? I'm looking at it now, and we've only 2 in all competitions going all the way back to 2006. You know what I mean? So Arsenal have won nearly all of them. In 2011, when we drew 4-4, I left a pub in Sydney actually when we were 4-0 down at half time. I woke up the next morning with a hangover for someone telling us that it was 4-4, and I thought they were joking for the rest of the day and stumbled across the score. So that one does, stick in the memory. But no, I'll go Arsenal 2-0. I'm benching both Lascelles and Almiron this week. 2-0 off.
Well, of course, Dre Zera has brought up the point that obviously you've just got about through against Oxford last night. Do you know much what happened in that game?
Yeah, I just seen the highlights. We were 2-0 up, and a bit like what we did Everton. Yeah, 2-0 up. Longstaff scored a cracker, and Joe Linton, of all people, took his chance nicely on a one-on-one, and then in the last 5 minutes, a bit like we did at the Toffees the other week, they scored 2, taking it in extra time. And yeah. But I'll not describe, but some of you might have seen the celebration from one of the Newcastle fans in the crowd. It's going viral. It was quite hilarious. So Google that later, but probably not appropriate on the stream. But I don't know what confidence they'll give to the lads, but it is a last-minute type extra time winner, and Joe Linton scored. So there is hope, but I just think Arsenal they'll just have too much. We don't travel well down to the capital, so I'm not expecting much, Steve.
FPL Aguero, Statman isn't expecting much from this particular game. Phil's expecting a lot with a high-scoring 4-2. What do you think?
I think Martinelli owners can kiss him goodbye because I think Pepe's back in that lineup after last week, and I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal.
David P, of course, asking about Aubameyang. Do you think he'll do well against Newcastle?
I think both. If Pepe and Aubameyang start, I think they'll both do well.
Interesting. James, your thoughts on this particular fixture?
Oh, Newcastle are dreadful at this fixture away at London. They've lost 7 in a row. It's got to be 8 in a row, but since Arsenal can't score, I reckon just a 1-0.
Same as me. Ray?
1-1. They're both on the same points on the Premier League table, both rubbish, 1-1.
You know what? It really would not surprise me at all that. I completely agree with you. Both teams, well, Arsenal are pants, and if Newcastle set up like they normally do, I think they're going to really, really struggle to break Newcastle down. Finally on to, I don't know if this is going to be really that interesting from an FPL perspective. Everybody seems to have got rid of Abraham, Mason Mount. Obviously, Pulisic is non-existent. Hudson-Odoi seems to be doing all right, but no one owns him. And Man United, of course, we'll get James's thoughts in a minute. Man United, of course, just a bit like Burnley, up and down, up and down. You don't know what team's going to show up.
Unpredictable.
Yeah, exactly. Is Bruno Fernandes, is he going to play forward? Is he going to be defensively? Is Martial going to start up front? Is this Igalo going to play? Either way, I'm sorry, Davey P, but I think at the moment, Ray Joy's talking about Arsenal being rubbish. Chelsea at the moment, they're just a shambles and they're just going to sleepwalk into fourth. But they're going to be looking over their shoulder, and I think they're going to lose this, James. I think it's going to be 2-1 to United, because United's record versus these teams is phenomenal. Of course, it ended 4-0 at Old Trafford, but that was, again, start of the season. I think Chelsea were trying to implement their new ideas, and Ole Solskjaer just took advantage of that particular. Aussie boy, Chelsea versus Man U.
Yeah, I'm going the reverse of you, Steve. I'm going 2-1 to Chelsea. I just think, like I was watching that Wolves game and the games before, they're just not good. And even though Chelsea aren't playing the best, I still think they'll win 2-1. And it's going to be maybe a bit of a revenge from the first game in the season where they lost 4-0.
Mon Sultan Saeed, how's the stream been this morning? Oh, it's been terrible. Crashing every 5 minutes. No, it's been great. We've got about the whole of Discord on at the moment, so you're more than welcome to join us in a minute if you'd like to jump on. Phil, Chelsea versus your lot, Man United.
I've gone 1-1.
You think 1-1?
Yeah, I don't see either's doing much. United are terrible at the moment.
Kev?
Oh
yeah, go for it, Phil.
No, I was going to say they're even worse than you're saying Chelsea are. So.
Kev, sorry.
Kevin, you both warned you about that. Once again, I'll back Phil up and go with a 1-1. I just think a lot of these top of the table, well, not this season, but these old grudge matches, can be quite tight and there's a lot of pride in it, So, yeah, I think they'll just, match each other for a 1-1 draw.
You said you were copying Phil. Well, essentially, every single outcome you've predicted exactly the same as Phil, and every single scoreline is virtually exactly the same, barring the odd goal here and there. So you two, it's going to be interesting to see how you two come out on top. FPL Aguero, what do you think on this game?
What do I think? I think Bruno Fernandes is not an option at 8 million. That's the first thing I think.
And why do you say that?
Him last week, I just thought he was playing as a 6, not as a actual 8-ish, 10-ish sort of role. So I thought he was a bit further back. But unless who's their player that's coming back? So
Matic? No, I don't have a clue.
If someone's playing in the
McTominay.
Yeah, if McTominay is back, then we haven't seen him in a further role. So, like what I watched of him last week, there's no way I'll bring him in for 8 million. It's too expensive. I'd rather have Harvey Barnes from Leicester. But for the scoreline, I think Frank's gonna fire him up. I think they were unlucky last week because they were a better team than Leicester, even though it finished 2-2. And I think Chelsea's going to canter and win 2-0.
James, this 2-0 Aguero, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Can't see Man United scoring. James, your thoughts on this particular fixture?
We will score because Chelsea's defence is just atrocious. But I don't see us winning. I reckon it's going to be 2-1 Chelsea with that 4-0 on their minds. Frank's really going to push that onto them to get that revenge match. And I reckon we're not going to win this. 2-1 Chelsea.
What is your actual thoughts on the Fernandes and the Igalo signings?
Igahu, that was their initial reaction. Totally forgot about him. I don't know what a club like Manchester United is doing with a player like Igalo, You're first linked with players like Haaland, which is the type of quality that you expect to come through the door at Old Trafford. So really disappointed with that. Feels like a panic signing. And in terms of Fernandes, can't be more excited. It's the one signing every United fan has wanted since the summer. How he's being played, though, is a little bit disappointing to say. We needed someone in that 10 position, someone more advanced, an attacking midfielder to contribute towards the assists, towards Martial, even to get some goals. But we're not getting that. He's playing much more deeper than what he was playing at Sporting. So, I don't know what Ole's doing. He doesn't seem to be able to utilise Fernandes properly to get the best out of him. So that's my major concern. But if used properly, world-class signing.
Dre Zera making the point on something that Paulie made, and which is that Agarlo, when he played for Watford in the 2015-16 season, he got 170 points. I don't know what that specifically equates to when it comes to goals and assists, but you would think that that would, I'm assuming, 12 goals and a couple assists here or there. The question for you, James, is now Greenwood just a non-option now?
Yeah, forget about Greenwood. You've got Martinelli. Absolutely. I mean, why not give him a chance? I mean, Ole preaches youth. I mean, why not let him grow into that role, especially with Rashford's injury? It's a perfect opportunity for Greenwood. But instead, we've got a little 6-month loan signing that we're not probably going to even turn permanent. So, yeah, very disappointing. And to not Greenwood a chance.
And you just think it's all going to backfire and Chelsea going to beat you?
Yeah, I honestly do think we're not going to win this, and that's not the worst thing in the world. We just need Ole out of here. I don't mind, losing a few games to get a new manager like Poch in.
Interesting. Ray, it's the final game of the game week. It's Chelsea versus Man United. Any confidence in United at all?
Well, they haven't scored a goal for 2 or 3 weeks, so I reckon they can get a goal here. But 2-1 Chelsea. So
2-1 to Chelsea. Blimey. So Chelsea to make an even bigger gap ahead of United and various others. Well, there we have it, everybody. That's myself, Aussie Boy, Phil, Statman, Aguero, James, and Ray Joyce's predictions. Take out of it what you will. It appears to me that everybody is happy to be going with a Salah or Aguero captain. A lot of people having a lot of faith in Man City assets. We'll get into the guys' teams in a second, but for anybody that's interested, the form for each fixture is suggesting this. So Everton Crystal Palace, the form is saying 1-1. Brighton Watford 1-1. Sheffield United Bournemouth, a 1-0 win to Sheffield United. Man City West Ham 3-0 to Man City. Wolves versus Leicester 2-1 to Leicester. Southampton Burnley 1-1. Norwich Liverpool 2-0 to Liverpool. Aston Villa Spurs 1-1. Arsenal Newcastle 1-0. And Chelsea Man United 1-1. The history regarding Aguero and Salah. Well, Salah's only played Norwich once, which was of course at the start of this season. Game week 1, he got a goal and an assist. Aguero, 3 starts versus West Ham, 2 goals, both of them being penalties. So, and in fact, forget that, it's actually 2 starts and 1 sub-appearance, because the 1 sub-appearance he actually got a penalty. Make of that what you will, but as we all know, I'm going with Aguero. We'll go through the guys' teams now. Are any of you in a hurry at all or not?
No,
yeah, I think I need to get off soon.
Okay, then we'll start with your team immediately. It's your wildcard team, Aussie Boy. The first question is, why have you chosen to wildcard?
So I looked around my team and I just wasn't really happy with it was the form of the defenders. Players like Rico, Kelly, Lundstrom, like Kelly and Lundstrom not playing, then Holgate having the tough fixtures after this game. Then I really, really didn't like the state of the keeper, Matt Ryan. So yeah, I've just completely changed up, and then Madison and Grealish I wasn't happy with. So yeah, one crazy thing that I have done though ahead of this week is taking out Aguero. And now he is gone, even ahead of West Ham. I know it's crazy, but I feel if I'm not going to captain him, there's no point of me keeping him and holding back the rest of my team. So I'm going to go with Salah no matter what anyway. Yeah.
So
the team.
This particular team you've got up on screen. For anybody listening on audio, we've got Henderson in goal, Bertrand, Alexander-Arnold, Stevens, Harvey Barnes, De Bruyne, Son, Salah, captain, Firmino, Jimenez, Ings. Then on the bench, we've got McCarthy, Bowley, Hayden, and Lascelles. Of all these players that you've got here, how many are going to be there come the deadline on Saturday?
I'm not sure, so I want to ask you about a little dilemma I have. Just the two players I'm thinking. So, would you rather this Hayden and Bertrand combination, or Tanganga and someone like Fleck, who I think is a better option, like just as a bench midfielder to come in? Just I feel more confident with him.
The question is whether Tanganga is going to be a first team. And now I know James from Planet FPL is saying that once Ben Davies is fit and ready to train, which he is now, he is back in training, there's a chance that he could take that position. But I'd like to think that the way Tanganga's been playing, that Mourinho will keep faith. Anybody here has an opinion on that particular move there of getting in Tanganga and Fleck instead of having Hayden and instead of Hayden and Bertrand? Is it Bertrand?
Yeah.
Phil? Kev?
No, not really. I do like Hayden. I've got Hayden myself. I think Newcastle got some good games coming up. It's worth keeping him in.
Yeah, that's why it's like that now. So I'm slightly leaning towards Bertrand. I just wanted some other opinions.
You're keen on keeping Firmino then?
Yeah, well, I had Aubameyang and then he wasn't allowing me to get all the players I want. So I just was like, I was planning on after the Southampton game because I watched it live. I was saying to myself, I'm getting Firmino this week, and it's on a wild card. And and I now have De Bruyne as well, who I really wanted for this week. And yeah, I'm now happy with my team and with Bolly in the defence, who I'm excited about after this week. Yeah, I think it's good.
Davey P saying that you should stick with the Hayden and Bertrand, and Finley Jacks is also agreeing there. Although, Kev, you're saying that Sheffield United got the fixtures. Your thoughts on this particular having Hayden in the team instead of Fleck?
I don't even think they're comparable, really. I know Hayden's popped up, with a couple of goals or a goal and assist or whatever, but that's really out of character for him. You know what I mean? He's twos every week. That's his role. You know what I mean? He picks up bookings and stuff. I like Fleck. I've got Fleck in my team. I'll be playing him. I'll be playing him this week ahead of Almiron, who is more of the attacking winger, etc. I just think Fleck could be a good differential. I know he's got a blank coming and stuff, but he's looked good every time I've seen Sheffield play. He's always been involved and gets a few chances and stuff. So I don't even think that's comparable. But then
the only reason I'd go Hayden over Fleck is that if he brings Fleck in, that'd be Henderson, Stevens, De Bruyne, and Fleck all blanking in 28.
Yeah, that's also, and that's why I've also got another reason why I've gone from Aubameyang to Bobby is so I can get those funds to move Button to McCarthy for the blank game week, so I don't have to use because Henderson's in goal for me.
Aussie boy, Dre Zera's making a point here about the fact that apparently you've got a YouTube channel which you haven't done anything with since August. Is that right?
Yeah, no, it's okay. The people on Discord have been taking the piss of it. Yeah, it's just a little inside joke.
Oh, I see. Right, okay. More fool me then. Aussie boy, have you got any final thoughts, questions, anything before you go?
Just thanks for having me on. It's hopefully there'll be some more breakfast shows, or if it suits. But yeah, I should be able to be on for if you're covering the Norwich game. Then I should be able to be on because I'll be getting up for that, as I can watch as there's no school that morning. So yeah.
Interesting. Cheers, Aussie boy. You're welcome to stay around, do whatever, but with obviously.
Right, thanks.
FPL Aguero, your team is up next, and you are going with the Aguero captaincy. have you done any transfers? What are your thoughts out of this game? You're going with a 4-4-2 formation. We've got Pope in goal, Van Dijk, Gomez, Holgate, Tanganga, Traore, De Bruyne, Salah, Son, Callum Wilson, Aguero, captain. Yeah.
Wait, sorry to butt in, Steve-O. I'm just going to head off now. All right?
Yeah. Cheers,
see
Aussie
ya.
boy. Thank you, mate.
Take care, mate.
See you, buddy.
Yeah, Steve, I haven't made any transfers, so I'm actually holding my transfers this week because I think my team's good enough. It's just whether I play Henderson over Pope or not. But I think Pope might be a decent shot this week. So.
Well, based on
and
everybody's
having coverage.
predictions, it doesn't look like they're going to get a clean sheet other than, of course, you predicting a 0-0. It's a tough one between Henderson and Pope. I personally would lean towards Henderson myself because I can't see us keeping a clean sheet whatsoever. And I think Henderson's got more of a high potential of against Bournemouth. Then again, of course, you've got the dilemma of Callum Wilson up against Henderson. But, you know, where did you end up this particular game week overall rank-wise? Because I know you're doing really well.
I was 100k before last week, and now I'm 72,000. I think.
Blimey, that's absolutely insane. And can you just?
I think I've been averaging like 74 points the last 5 weeks.
And could you tell the audience as to what's turned your luck, so to speak, around? Obviously, the differential captaincies is one of them. But yeah, what do you think this whole green arrows has come down to?
It's just I think everyone was I think me and Jason missed out on a lot of points in January. I think from Christmas, the people that went with triple Liverpool like gained a lot on us, and then there's like 2 free fixtures when Aguero just went ballistic, pretty much pulled me back in. I think I was 800,000 like 5 weeks ago. And like I haven't missed a captain in the last 5 weeks. Every captain scored in double figures, and your rank goes up. Simple as that.
Dre Zero making the point here that you've never owned Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, I've never owned Trent all season as well.
Is there a reason for this, or it's just?
I just think 7.6 is a lot of money. I think it's 7.7 now, right? And now if Liverpool, if he doesn't consistently get me like 8 million, he's nearly. That's just too much for a defender. I know he's going to score a lot of points, but I think Gomez has been matching him for the last couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks.
Yeah, someone asked me that question the other week about is it disappointing that I own Trent when Gomez is matching? The simple answer is, well, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Lewis or Charlie, whichever the two it was, that said that at the end of the day, Trent is virtually an attacking midfielder. So, yeah, he's just missed out on a few points here or there, but it doesn't really bother me whatsoever. So you're pretty confident.
Yeah, but Steve-O, yeah, go on, sorry.
No, you finish off what you're going to say.
Like that 2.67 million allows me Aguero instead of a Firmino, which Firmino you're not going to captain. Aguero you're going to captain in like a home fixture like this.
No, that's a very, very good point.
Week,
and you're absolutely set on this team.
Yeah, I agree. This team I'm not changing because I said I don't like Aguero away from home unless it's like a bottom 3 team. Like Norwich and whoever's getting relegated. Aston Villa, he done well. I think I captained him there. And now he's got a nice home fixture against West Ham, who probably can go down this season if they don't turn it around.
No, and obviously Aussie Boy was talking about Tanganga and everything. Are you not worried that Tanganga may lose his place to Ben Davies, or do you just think, nope, keep him while he's still playing and you've got decent enough backup in Montoya? Or even Mopé Alma on it, doesn't really matter, does it?
No, it's just I think Mourinho has been criticised for the last maybe 4 or 5 since he was at United for not playing youth. Something he never done, but I think he's starting to adapt as a manager, sort of like starting to play youth. So I think Tanganga's safe, to be honest, Steve. I think he was brilliant last week.
Yes, that's what I've been told as well, and hopefully he is going to... Is he still 4 million or is he 4.1 now?
No, I think he's gonna go up this week because everyone transferred him in after last week's game. I think he's 4.1, but I'm not sure. What are your thoughts on my players? Who should I start?
I think you've got the team spot on. I think the 4-4-2 is absolutely bang on the money. I wouldn't be playing any Brighton players personally. I think they're absolutely useless. Although ironically, they're going to prove me wrong now by beating Watford 2 or 3-0, and Mopay will get on the score sheet. But I mean, Statman, you were someone that absolutely loved Montoya at the start of the season. Has he lost his place?
I wouldn't go as far as love Montoya, Steve. I had Montoya in my squad early on as a bit of Brighton cover. I thought he had some attacking potential, but to be honest, I haven't thought of him since I took him out. In all fairness.
Well, talking of your team, it's up on screen now. You're going with a 4-3-3 formation. Henderson, Alexander-Arnold, Stevens, Baldock, Gomez, De Bruyne, Salah, Fleck, Ings, Aguero, captain, Aubameyang. Obviously, this is you wildcarded last week. Remind me, have you done any? Yeah. You took out Lundstrom, didn't you, for Baldock?
Yeah, I did it. I thought I was making the deadline, but I'd missed the deadline. But I would have probably did it anyway. So, yeah, Lundstrom to Baldock to stick with the double up at the back for the Blades.
And you're confident moving into Gameweek 26 with this particular fixture? I mean, Aguero captaincy is a no-brainer, I suppose. Although you're not tempted by Salah.
Yeah, I am. I was just listening to the stats on, how similar Salah's stats match up with Aguero's. Although Aguero, you think Aguero's had so many opportunities and shots, etc., and Salah's pretty much on his heels, playing Norwich away. So it probably is a bit of a coin flip, but I just can't get away from how bad West Ham looked. Do you know what I mean? Anyone that makes Brighton look like Barcelona are just due absolute hiding. And he came off early. He's got a big break between the next game, so I'm hoping that it does the business. But no, I like the look of my team. The only thing, would you back what I've done and play Fleck over Almiron? Now Almiron missed a bit of a sitter against Norwich. He had a free header 5 yards out and put it wide, so that would have been, it would have added to a good game week last week. But do you think I'm doing the right thing playing Fleck at home to Bournemouth opposed to Almiron away at Arsenal? That's the only thing I would,
Looking at that team there, yes. Although...
the only thing I'd do is move Almiron to your first sub, Kev.
Why not Aaron Moy? I was thinking maybe Aaron Moy, or am I going mad? I thought he was like an attacking player for Bournemouth, or am I just losing the plot here?
Why Moy? Why have I got him in?
No. What I'm saying is that why not play Aaron Moy ahead of John Fleck instead?
Fleck. Yeah, well, it's my first sub, so subconsciously or consciously, I do fancy him ahead of Almiron. I don't know. It's Bournemouth. I know they've had a little bit of a revival, but Fleck, just every time I've seen the highlights, I've caught some of the game. He's looked so involved, and
he's a busy player.
He is, and he's always in and around everything they do. So it is probably a pretty dead. It's an even flip between Fleck, Moy, and Almiron. Almiron's the more attacking of all of them. He gets forward as much as any Toon player. Probably have got a bit of a decision to make there. But it's not like I'm picking from any big hitters. It's not going to kill or make me game week 3 bit players in it.
I'm looking at your team there, and where does Aaron Moy play for Brighton? Is he an attacking creative player, isn't he?
Yeah, he can be. He had a cracking. Who was he playing for a few seasons ago? Was it Huddersfield?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a beast that season. I had him, for big parts, and he's a good player. And I just needed a bit of a differential in and around that price range that didn't blank in 28. So he's got a couple of goals. He scored at home to Bournemouth. He actually scored at home to Bournemouth and away to Bournemouth in the last few. So he's just a total differential. Who else would it have been? Cantwell, and you're looking at that kind of 4.8, 4.9 range. So he's just come in for 28. To be honest, Steve-O. When the majority of my squad's going to blank, I needed to pick someone that's not blank. So that's why I went with him. But maybe I could play him this week against Watford. I'll probably delve into the underlying stats a little bit more. But no, I like the team for this week. I'm pretty confident, but I'm hoping I can get another green arrow.
Morning, Darren Walsh, Andy Martin, and GM Stores is actually agreeing with me that maybe play Aaron Moyes instead of Stevens. But it really is a case of I reckon looking at your team there, personally, I think that give or take any of the players that you're going to be bringing off the bench potentially to start ahead of the ones that you may take, I think they're just going to get about the same amount of points, give or take. Exactly. I look at that team, Kev, and I just go, it's brilliant moving forward. In fact, I've got your team from last week up on screen. It's 72 points. It's helped you climb up the ranks in our Cash Mini League. You're up to 78th, I think it is. 78th. Do you think this is the time to start moving up the Cash Mini League and somehow trying to catch fourth, if it's possible?
Oh, it's well past that stage. See, I'm looking at you, Steve. You're about 30 points ahead of us, so you're my head case. To be honest, I'm looking at you, and then you and Phil are up and around there, and then I'm looking at Jason, who's like at the bottom of the first page, in and around 50th. So they're my milestones. I'm looking at you and Phil, and then beyond that, if I can get lucky. But
how do you stand chip-wise, Kev?
I got the boost and the free hit left. So and now my team's not set up at all for 28. All my Sheffield lads blank, City blank, Bamiyang blanks. I've got some issues to deal with, but I've got a plan. I'm definitely not going to free hit in 28. I'll take Aguero to Jimenez next week. Or is it Norwich at home? Norwich at home. So there's one of my blankers gone. Hopefully I can send Aguero off after a big haul, and then I should be all right. Me bench players, you know what I mean. I bring in me 2 Newcastle players and Moy for decent fixtures. Brighton are at home to Palace, and the 2 have got Burnley at home. So I just have to sit with Henderson, not playing. But I did that earlier in the season, and all the potential keepers I looked at that week all got 2. So it was like, to me, is it worth a transfer for potential 1 or 2 points? Not really, when I've got value tied up in Henderson. So that is my plan anyway going forward.
Is your main focus regarding your particular season now on the Elite FPL Cash Mini League or not? Have you got other areas, other mini leagues that you wanted to do well in?
Well, I'm pretty much written off on all the cash leagues I'm in, but it is the overall rank. There's plenty of time. There's a lot of people make mistakes around this time of year with the blanks and the doubles, and they get themselves in a kerfuddle. And I think if you've played at least a couple of seasons and you know what it's like, for planning ahead's massive, I think, at this point. So I do think there's still time to climb, but yeah, I'm just playing for. I still love every week, Steve. I still enjoy setting the team up and all the podcasts you doing that. It's still, the game's still as fun as always, but it's probably even a bit more. I think now that I've written the season off, a bit like Bruno was saying, like not really giving a damn. You do feel like a bit of weight's been lifted off your shoulders, and you can have a bit more fun with it. So I definitely enjoying it more in the past couple of weeks since I've, admitted it.
It's why I couldn't care less about talking about like my team, my whatever, because it's just a waste of time. It's just I'm Captain Aguero. There's no point in telling me to Captain Salah or anything. I'm just captaining the player that I think will do really well from a relatively decent differential point of view. Obviously, I'm still quote unquote playing the game seriously, but reality being is that with the Elite FPL Cash Mini League virtually tied up regarding fourth spot, I mean, I don't know how many places you've got to go down to think to yourself, right, these particular individuals ain't got a chance. But if we just quickly bring... I mean, Phil, I'll ask you, the top places in the Cash Mini League, do you reckon that if you're talking from our man Dylan, which is just absolutely tanking it at the top, albeit he's 1 point ahead of Andrew Fong, he's 20 odd points, 22 points ahead of Juggernauts. And then really you're talking going down to, I would say, Ian Rose, Gotham, maybe Manchester Reds and Terence Levi. Maybe they've got an outside chance of getting fourth spot, but the consistency of people like Sultan Saeed and everything, I just think those places are tied up, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think they are doing quite well. I mean, the one, as I look at the players above me, the one thing I've got in my benefit at the moment is I've got all 3 chips. I mean, I've seen with people only getting 3 points out of Marnie in recent weeks and various other human errors that could occur along the way. I still think it's possible for myself, Steve, if I'm honest with you.
What's that?
To get into the top 4.
Where are you now?
I'm 52nd, 100 points from 4th.
100 points from 4th. Kev, I'll ask you immediately your thoughts on... In fact, I haven't heard from Ray. You're in our Catch Mini League. What are your thoughts on Phil being very confident of getting 4th spot? How are you feeling ahead of the coming weeks being so high up?
Oh, well, yeah, you've got to pick one good player and have a good run. Well, the 3 from Liverpool basically have lifted me 50 points in no time. I was 45th not long ago, and now I'm up to 13th.
Yeah, it's absolutely correct. And you think...
If you look... Sorry, Steve. If you look back, when was it, Game Week 8, and everyone was like, oh, why has Phil got Danny Ings in his team? Now you try and find me a team that ain't got Danny Ings in.
But... you're still extremely low down. Do you not think, though, that...
I was 4 million when I brought... Well, sorry, 3.5 when I brought Ings in.
I mean,
if you get the play at the right time and he's just ticking away, it can happen.
I mean, Ray, you have been doing... If it actually comes up... I mean, if I look at that, you're opening several game weeks. In fact, between game weeks 1 up to game week 16, you had 4 green arrows. You started off the season 22nd thousandth, and you dropped all the way down into game week 16 down to 707,000. Since then, however, between game week 17 up to now, game week 25, you've had every single week a green arrow barring 2, which was between game week 20 and 21, and you're now climbed up to 67,000th. You think then that you've got the opportunity to catch 4th spot?
Oh, undoubtedly. You can just look at the scores last week. There's a lot of people 30, 40 pointers, and there's people out there that had 80 or 90 pointers.
I mean, I don't know the specific
50 points.
The specific maths in everything, but surely the players above you have relatively similar teams, so surely they'd just be playing defensive moves, and someone like yourself would have to make those within reason differential captaincy picks to get those 50 points. Would that not be the case?
Oh, well, last week was all about Salah, 32 points. But if you had, say, Firmino got 10 or 11, if you get someone else that gets you 10 or 11, whereas the other guys might be getting 2-pointer, 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 that can make a huge difference in a game week.
But these small differentials like Firmino, you'd have to be getting at least a minimum of I don't know the specific maths, but 5 or 6 points on top of the popular player. Let's just say Danny Ings as an example, someone that you haven't got yet. Every single week for you to be able to catch up. Because if I look at your team now up on screen, I mean, I haven't actually got the one that you've posted up on Discord, and I'll bring that up in a second. But your team pretty much looks, give or take, barring the odd differential here or there. I mean, here we are. This is, I mean, you've asked the question, simply getting rid of Allaire. So if I look at your team here, we've got Nick Pope in goal, which is a differential, let's be honest here. Trent, everybody owns. Rico, whether people start or not is a different question, but quite a lot of people own him. Lundstrom, once again, quite a lot of people have actually ironically got rid of him. But I reckon in our Cash Money League, actually, he's still up there. Again, I don't know that for fact. Holgate, Salah, St. Maxim's an interesting one. De Bruyne and Martial. Martial's a nice differential. Firmino and Calvert-Lewin. So I look at that team and I just look at Firmino, St. Maxim and Martial as your main differentials that could punish people. And to be fair, yeah, you are right. If they go on a bit of a run, they could get a few more points on top of the standard players. But you're asking about getting rid of Allaire. I mean, I don't know. Why do you own him? Was it just purely for the double game week?
Yep, that was the only reason he's been in. And he's leaving this week. Well, I've got 3.6 in the bank, so it's either Allaire or Snodgrass. So
How much in the bank,
I'm just deciding if I'm going to go 3.6.
Blimey.
So, so it's either possibly Mahrez in the midfield.
Oh, mate.
Or Allaire out.
Yeah, instantly you say that. I'm just thinking, the second you mention Mahrez, I'm like thinking, you know what, that just makes complete sense. James, haven't heard from you for a while. Your thoughts on someone as high up in the ranks as Ray Joyce, bringing in someone like Mahrez for, luckily enough, for someone like Snodgrass?
Brilliant move. A bit of a gamble, a high risk, high return. Yeah, I do like that move quite a lot.
Yeah, what are your thoughts, Phil, Kev, on Ray's dilemma of having 3 million in the bank and having just rubbish like Snodgrass and Allaire on the bench, albeit Snodgrass returned so well over the last couple of weeks?
It's not such a bad thing. It's good to have some money, as long as he's got a plan going forward where he knows he's making the moves over the next few weeks, where that money's going to go and that. Yeah, he's in a good place.
Ray, how much research do you actually put into this game? Or is it just a case of, I just like that player, I'll just bring him in?
Oh, no, I know I look a few weeks ahead. Like, I know there's a blank coming up. So if I bring in Mahrez, I know I've got Lundstrom, De Bruyne and Mahrez when the blank comes up. So you've got to have players on the bench to cover that, or else he's got to come in for 2 weeks and go out again. So you're certainly going to look ahead.
At the moment, then you've made no transfers, no? So
you just broke up there. What was that? Sorry.
You've made no transfers so far this week, no?
No, not yet. No.
And I'm assuming you've only got one?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
For me personally, I'm stating the blinking obvious. I think getting rid of Snodgrass for someone like Mahrez is an amazing move. I mean, another popular one. Could you get in Son, or does Son not interest you?
I could get in Son, but that would mean Martial would go. But he's a transfer waiting to happen. I've just haven't been taking hits. It's the only reason he's still there.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you thought about taking Lundstrom down to someone like Lascelles, who doesn't blank in 28, and then having the funds to upgrade Haller to Vardy for his incoming turn of fixtures, as well as not blanking in 28? That just screams out to me, because,
Or you'd go Haller to Jimenez, wouldn't you? Haller to Jimenez is the move that team needs for me.
But you'd
Yeah,
get
well-
Lascelles. Imagine Lundstrom to Lascelles. Imagine Lundstrom to Lascelles for Newcastle's quality fixtures, and then getting Vardy back in for. Well, I'm getting Vardy in. Sorry, in 28, 27 or 28. So that's just what left out.
Yeah, well, there is the option to do Haller to someone for 2 weeks and then go to Vardy. But of course, Everton's fixtures turn, so Holgate's got to go probably in a week as well. So, yeah, there's problems on the horizon.
What's your how many chips have you got left, Ray?
I've still got the free hit and the wildcard.
Still got free hit and wildcard. So obviously you've used the triple captaincy. Did you use that? Yeah, you used it on I'm assuming you used it on Salah, didn't you? Of course you did.
Yeah, that's right.
You got the bench boost as well. So.
Oh yeah, the bench boost.
Yeah. Have you actually thought about when you're going to be using these particular chips at all, or not?
I'm really waiting to see what double game weeks come up, and the bench boost would be after I'd used a wild card or a free hit.
Yeah. With somebody that's doing so well in the Cash Mini League, how do you feel about coming live on air and kind of talking about your team and everything? Do you worry that your competitors will start copying you, blocking you off, or you just not give a damn and it's just like, nope, there's my team, done?
Everyone's team value is different, so it's pretty hard for people to copy anyway.
So, Phil, you're saying Haller to Jimenez. I'm saying Snodgrass to Mahrez. Kev, you're saying Lundstrom to Lascelles. Ray, it's really going to come down to you, mate.
Yeah, another 2 or 3 days to think about it. So,
Kev, what are your thoughts on Ray having sent Maxim in his team?
Yeah, he's in spots he looks the real deal. And getting that goal, he come on late in the cup and he got that winning goal. So if there's a player in that team with a little confidence boost, it's going to be him. So I think he's a decent pick. He's a good difference. He's owned by nobody. 0.3% owned.
How much
Just off of. Sorry.
5.4.
Go for it, Phil.
0.4.
I was going to ask Kev what he thinks his chances are with West Brom in the cup.
Is that who we've got? Is it
Yeah,
home or away?
I believe you're away.
Oh, flip a coin, mate. I think they're safe. So they could put a big emphasis on having a good cup run, for the fans. So
It's just there another one. Like if they can beat them, they'll be blanking 31 and could be another one that could have a sneaky double. So you might want 2 or 3 Newcastle players in your team soon.
Exactly. It's going to be a gnarly end of the season there.
This is the best bit of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ray, how well has St Maxim performed for you this season since you've had it?
I brought him in as my last move last week and put Snodgrass on the bench. So, yeah.
Why? Just of interest, why did you bring in St Maxim then?
Oh, well, for a differential, something different.
But surely Snodgrass was a differential for you. And at home to Brighton, I mean, I'm one to talk, but I would have just been like, do you know what? I would have just kept Snodgrass for that one particular fixture.
Yeah, but the fixture run Newcastle's got coming up, I really just wanted to get one of their players in my team. And
they were playing Norwich at home every.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you're playing that. Plus, when you look at their fixtures, after Arsenal, they've got Crystal Palace, Burnley, Southampton, Sheffield, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, West Ham. There's got to be points there.
Interesting.
And I didn't want Almiron, so.
No, absolutely. Let's move on to Phil's team, shall we?
Steve-O, sorry, do you mind if I go first? Cause,
carry on, mate. Sorry.
People are looking for me at the office, and I might have to pop back in soon. I've been in the conference room alone for the last 2 hours.
Brilliant.
I am at work still, but you know, I took a couple hours off for this.
Are you in a
And I'm
cupboard?
just-
You sound like you're in a cupboard.
I'm in the conference room pretending I'm having a meeting, like I'm on a conference call.
That's
quality.
amazing. That is fantastic. How did your double game week
mean-
go, James?
Oh, you know how my year's going. Of course I had Mane triple captain. Broke him too. The streak continues, Steve-O, of me being the worst FPL player in the world. That's active.
Well, I can join that club as well. So let's just. In fact,
I mean, everything I do just goes to, you know what, you know. Since I brought Ings in, he hasn't scored a damn goal. I broke Mane, I injured Vardy. Everything I do just seems to go wrong.
Maybe me, you, and Kev can use that conference room to console ourselves because the three of us are doing absolutely pants this year. And I look at your team. You've got McCarthy in goal, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Sunchu, Stevens is that, Salah, Grealish, De Bruyne. Who the hell is that? Oh, you've punted on Fernandes, Ings, Vardy, and Calvert-Lewin. You're going with Salah captain. Straight away, Fernandes. When did you bring him in, and why did you?
Well, Mane got injured, and he needed a replacement. And I thought, I don't really have a good differential in there. Fernandes seemed to be the perfect opportunity, less than 1% owned at the time. And I could pretty much switch to anyone with Mane's money. So I decided to give Fernandes a shot, hoping for a dream home debut against Wolves, which never materialised.
Remind me, and I keep asking this, but I know you missed game week 1, but you really are having a stinker of a season, aren't you?
I am.
Whereabouts are you ranked, mate?
Well, I was around 2 million, and I can proudly say I'm now, after Mane's triple captain, I'm now down to 2.5 million.
Jesus. Wow. What are you actually... I mean, have you not thought about just, like, for a laugh, just doing like a minus 20, do a Jason, a minus 24 for a laugh and just getting all the best players possible, or not? Like, because you're doing so poorly that, I mean, I'm stating the obvious that you don't want to sabotage your team, but for players like yourself, maybe just go for it, bring in all the decent options and then just leave it. I mean, how are you playing this game, for example?
I'm still taking it really seriously, Steve-O. You know, I got Ings.
Have you ever thought about just having a laugh and just wrecking your team?
You know, with Lundstrom being benched, losing his position, I brought in Stevens. You know, I'm still giving it lots and lots of hours every week of research. I'm still, you know, taking this seriously, believe it or not.
But it's just everything backfiring.
Yeah. You know what? I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is.
No, I
hopefully next.
No, in all seriousness, I do feel for people like yourself or whoever that puts in so much time and effort into statistics. And reality is, I mean, would you agree with this? That it just comes down to your gut.
Might need a new gut. It's I don't know what it is, Steve. I'm just calling it luck, bad luck. I mean. And hopefully next season I'll get some good luck and you know, I'll be in top 100k. But I really think it's just been luck. I mean, you've seen what happened with Mane and everything I explained in that rant I gave. Like, everything that's gone wrong were unforeseen circumstances, making the right logical decision. And I really said at game week 19, it's going to turn around second half of the season, James. Don't worry about it. Yeah, didn't happen. So now I'm just going to say it's going to turn around next year.
James, I really appreciate you coming on. You can stay around for as long as you want, but I know you've got, like you said,
Thanks,
you've got to get
Steve-O.
going. So we'll catch you later.
Yeah,
mate.
people have been kind of looking at me in the conference room, like, you know, like asking me, you know, waving me over and wondering why this call is like 2 hours long. Thank God they can't hear me. But yes, I've been putting on a serious face here, like this is a very serious meeting. But it's been the best 2 hours I've had all week at work. So thank you so much for this morning stream.
Cheers, dude. Take it easy, mate.
Cheers, Steve.
Take
Thanks,
care,
guys.
James.
Take care. Bye.
There's James Bang there.
Oh, what a guy.
Yeah. Again, once again,
Legend.
kindly donating a prize for us for the Champions League. £100 worth of Bitcoin. What is it again? Sorry, Phil. It's
£100 worth of Bitcoin.
£100 worth of Bitcoin. It's absolutely fantastic, and really do appreciate the support James has shown us for that particular tournament. So Phil, moving on to your team finally. It's looking gorgeous, not going to lie. 3-4-3 formation, McCarthy and goal, Stevens, Alexander-Arnold, Sidibe, Fleck, De Bruyne, Son, Salah, captain, Ings, Aubameyang and Firmino. I want to start with this. You must have been gutted about the Aubameyang captaincy last game week up against Burnley.
Oh, literally, all he had to do was get me an assist and I would have won my Champions League game. That's all he had to do. But still, Son done a bit for me. I still don't regret doing. I think it was worth taking a punt on him last week.
Absolutely. I like me with the Aguero pick. The history suggested Aubameyang should do well, and unfortunately it just didn't pay off. But this particular team up on screen right now, you're happy with it moving forward? Are you planning on doing any transfers? Have you already done any transfers? What?
Well, Lundstrom ain't there no more. I jumped off that train this week.
And I'm assuming you brought in Stevens?
Yeah.
How much money have you saved on that?
Well, I bought him at 4. I sold him at 5.1, so I got 4.5 back, and I've gained 1.1 into my kitty, so to speak.
So, I mean, let's be honest here. You're just above me in the Cashman League, is that right?
Yeah, I think it's 10 points.
So you're 10 points ahead of me. And like you said, you're confident of catching a Morning Brew and Morning Fire Tog, by the way. Cheers for joining us. You're confident in catching the top 4 places?
Sorry, 32 points. I am ahead of you. Sorry, Steve.
Okay. But you're confident catching those top 4 places?
Yeah, it only takes 2-3 good weeks, Steve. I mean, I'm quite planned up of the fixtures I'm doing over the next the people that I want to get out of my team in the next few weeks. I work well around the blanks and the doubles. So this is my time to make my ground up.
I mean,
plus in the cash league, I think there's only 8 of us that have still got our triple captainship, Steve.
And really?
So if we hit that perfect, that's 40, 50 points. Because I'll be using it on a week to my advantage. So.
But Phil, can I just say with a triple captainship, you know, I think if you're going to hold it as late as what I think you're meaning, that Liverpool assets are kind of going to be nullified by the fact the title will be wrapped up and they might be rotating around. And with City, I've always found that when you triple captain a City player on a double game week, chances are you're going to get one game out of them anyway.
If Southampton beat Spurs, they could get a double game. Newcastle, I wouldn't. I'd be using it on a completely random player. You won't even see my play. There's no point in using it on Salah. Say if you go to Salah in his double game week or whatever, there's a chance you could lose him, but then everyone else is going to be captaining Salah anyway. I'd rather take a right big punt with it in the double game week. Find someone that gets 5-6 goals by chance.
I mean, obviously we don't quite know what the likelihood of what fixtures are going to be coming up in the doubles or the triple potentially game week or whatever. But I'm thinking maybe triple captaining, say, a defender, someone that's absolutely nailed on across 2 games, because a lot of people are suggesting that this particular double game week that's gone by was probably the best opportunity to be captaining, especially using the triple captaincy, because of the fact they had such a gap between each game. But I think that if a decent team with a decent defence in the next double game week coming up, I think triple captain a defender could be good, although we were bitten by Brighton last year, but that was just from what I remember, just 2 awful fixtures, and it was just a case of let's just get that captaincy on somebody. So you reckon, Phil, that you're going to be going with him for an almighty punt when it comes to those double game weeks? Then maybe someone like, I don't know, a Lacazette or a Pepe, as just a simple example, just someone so far out there that no one else would own that particular player.
Yeah, there's a few potential. I mean, I think the next round of FA Cup games is between fixtures weeks 28 and 29. So then from then, you've only got 2-3 weeks to plan your team around the blank.
Jim Parry, good morning to you. Morning, everybody. Just woken up after a heavy night celebrating Birmingham's magnificent win over Coventry. Really enjoying Elite FPL this season. Well done. No, thank you. It's people like yourself which continue helping this channel grow. The question for you then, Phil, is you're then confident moving forward with this particular team. Talking of differentials, have you not thought about potentially captaining De Bruyne, or do you think for yourself Salah is your best pick from the options you've got?
I'd prefer Salah, in my opinion. I think he's that owned now. So many people have bought him in. Maybe not so much in our cash league, but I don't know. They're the two it's between, is Salah or De Bruyne. I just prefer Salah. I don't want to go. I'm not doing a Aubameyang again. I'll just be happy to own him.
Ray, I'll ask you. Do you think that in a person's position like yourself that it's better off playing safety regarding captaincy, or do you think that, no, do you know what? Do what Phil could be doing and going with differential captaincy?
Oh, it doesn't really matter who you pick as long as you nail it, because that is pretty much the be all and end all of each week. If you nail your captain, that's 30 points on a good week compared to 4. You do that a couple of times and you rocket up the ranks.
No, absolutely. Obviously, I would agree with you. But are you worried about Phil catching you or not?
Oh, looking at that lineup, I've had weeks. I don't like to put the mockers on them, but I've had weeks when you look at your lineup. Like, I look at that lineup and it looks really good, and you expect it to score well, but it doesn't always pan out.
Have you not?
How you expect?
I've just thought. Have you not thought about captaining Firmino, Phil? Considering
the
away record.
Yeah, I've considered him as well, but I think he's the same. I'm just happy owning him. I think he's only 15-20% owned. Yeah, 18% owned he is. So I'm just happy owning him in my team. And same like last week, his points sort of covered the Salah captains in the way.
You must have been so angry at the fact that he didn't get a bonus point despite getting 3 assists. I would have been fuming.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, FPL just likes to screw me over. So
yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't say turn a couple of goals back and find some free kick that happened 10 minutes before one of Firmino's passes for an assist.
Yeah, that whole debacle in the Man City game was absolutely ludicrous. I didn't quite understand what the hell was going on there, but it's just one of those things. Anyhow, I think that draws a lovely conclusion to this particular breakfast show. I cannot believe how long we've been going on for, almost 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is absolutely fantastic. I'll do the usual line of, guys, have you got anything to say before I wrap up the show? So, Ray Joyce, have you got any final thoughts before we let you go?
Oh, thanks to you and all the guys that are on here tonight. And like a few of them said earlier, the guys in Discord, it's any time of day or night you want to get on and talk about football, there's always someone there. 2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, doesn't really matter. So just cheers to the whole community and good luck next game week.
Cheers, Ray Joyce. Really do appreciate the kind words, and obviously someone that's been with us since the... In fact, I've asked you before, and I'll ask you again. You've been with us since the very, very early stages, haven't you?
Yep. I can't remember how far back, but a long way.
This is going to sound a really weird question, but do you feel part of something special when the channel's grown from quite literally me doing like streams on a mobile phone here, to what we're doing now, literally speaking to you live on air. How do you feel about the growth of the channel that me and Jason have put together?
Oh, it's great. Yeah, I like coming on here and listening to everyone else's opinion and getting different thoughts on different guys. It's good.
No, that's great to hear. Ray, cheers for joining us, pal.
Yeah, cheers, Steve. See ya.
Cheers, dude. There's Ray Joyce there, a long-term listener. Phil, thank you for joining me this morning. I'm assuming you're going to be going to bed now?
Yeah, got work again at 6.
Blimey.
Yeah. Just one quick thing. Last night, a celebrity won the
that's what I was
tournament
going to say,
had.
Phil. I was going to say, come on, spill the beans.
What's this, sorry?
So do you know, if I say a word, I'm going to say a sentence, and I want you to tell me what it reminds you of, yeah?
I'm a
So,
bit nervous now.
right,
Oh, wait.
do you really like it?
Do you really like it? Do you really like
Do
it?
you,
I'm loving it,
Steve-O?
loving it, loving it. I'm loving it like this. Is this what we're referring to?
Yeah.
Yep, DJ Piper won the tournament at my club last night.
DJ... Oh, is that... Right, I'm not going to profess to know anything about... Is that who sang the song?
Yeah, the song was by Pied Piper and the Masters of Ceremonies. I don't want to say what year it was. I want to say 98, maybe, somewhere
and he
around
won
there.
a significant amount of money at your table.
It was just a £50 buy-in. He won first place, was $8.50. But he's a nice guy. He's all right, like good guy to talk to.
Maybe you can donate to the show.
Sponsor us.
Phil, really appreciate you coming on this morning.
No worries, mate. You take care. See you over the weekend.
Speak to you soon. There's Phil there joining us for the last 2 hours. And finally, for you, Statman, all the way in New Zealand, just like Ray Joyce, any final thoughts before we clear off?
Nah, mate. Just looking forward to another game week. But he's told us not to say it, but he's keeping it quiet. I should encourage everyone to go and check out Dre's.
Yeah, hold a minute. Very good point. To be fair, I saw Dre Zera say he doesn't want to promote on the show, which I respect that opinion. Yeah. But I saw that you wrote in there that he does a channel. Number one, tell us about it, and number two, what's it about and why you like it. So this is Dre Zera, everybody. He's a regular contributor to the on the chat and everything, especially in Discord, and obviously he's now one of our moderators. But Statman, tell us about it.
It's different. I'll say that as Dre's personality is very unique, as is his channel. He posted it in off topics in the Discord. So if you go to the off topics, it'll be from yesterday or the day before when me and him and Phil were chatting. Nothing FPL related whatsoever. But I see Llama was on there watching a few videos and commenting and liking. And that's how I got chatting to him about it. Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
But what's it? Tell us about it. Honestly, just tell us about it. Nothing's gonna. What's it about?
Well, Phil described it to me when I was being introduced as something in between or hybrid of Metallica and a zombie movie. That's all I need to say. It's all sorts. There's vlogs in there from him going up to Newcastle outside of St James's Park to his theatrical stuff, and I think he's got a movie, like a lot of short films he films. It's really out there, but you know, he's a right character. He's always on the Discord, and he's trying to keep it quiet, but you know, everyone should go check it out. It's nothing FPL related. Don't expect any FPL content, but give it a like and give him some support, I reckon.
Well, there we are, everybody. Kev there.
You love it, Steve.
Kev there promoting one of our regular contributors, Dre Zera's channel. Essentially, it sounds like he just blogs about life in general. So I'll certainly give it a bit of a watch. Jim Parry making the point here. The growth of this thread has been insane. Hoping it goes from strength to strength. Next season, will there be a cap on the number of managers who can join the Kashmir League? Yeah. To be completely honest with you, at the moment we have got... How many is in the Kashmir League? Is it 95 people, Kev?
Yeah, just under 100.
Just under 100 people. Now, we're stating the obvious here. Now, this is just me talking off the top of my head. There's been no confirmation. Please do not quote me on anything I'm about to say, because there will be a moderator meeting once the season finishes and we'll be discussing everything. But obviously, next season there's going to be... so there's 90 people. We've had to kick certain people because they were fake accounts or / hadn't paid, but whatever. The point being is that, it's just under 100 teams. Now, we know for a fact that next season it's going to be exceedingly popular, but there will be a cap on it. I would put a random guess that cap would be at around about 150 to 200 people. Once again, please don't quote me on this, but at the end of the day, everybody that's in the Cash Mini League this season will be given an invite immediately, so they get first choice dibs, whatever you want to call it, first come, first serve basis on there. And I'd probably think that every single one of these guys that are part of this Cash Mini League will participate next season. So that's 90 people straight away. And then obviously there are going to be various people that are part of the community that weren't part of this Cash Mini League. So then it will be down to a bit like how Daily Llama did the Champions League, where we'll probably offer it out to people that are regular contributors to the show and the community in general. Because reality being is that, as Jason made the point before, is that we don't want any old person just randomly coming out from wherever and just never participate in the community or on the show. People like Kev here, it's great having on because we can actually talk about their ups and downs of not just fantasy football but the Cash Mini League. We had Phil on a few seconds ago saying how amazingly how he thinks that he's going to get fourth spot. I mean, I can only wish him well, but as a rival I hope he completely fails. But I think that there will be a cap on that next season. But once again, we don't need to talk about that till next season. Angus Gordon, you're still going, Steve. How many coffees have you had? I don't really drink coffee apart from before the gym. So I've, just technically the one coffee. But reality being is this, Kev. Just want to talk about fantasy football. I always say this as well. Essentially, this is just Hangouts, but on a live stream.
It is, mate. That's it. Like you said, we're all serious FPL nerds, and there's nothing worse than trying to talk about FPL to a load of people that don't play FPL. They've got zero interest in it. They look at you like you're some sort of weirdo, with the passion that all of us have. I know that some of you out there have these conversations at work when you have a big week and telling your colleagues or something like, "Oh, I've had an amazing week. Look at me score 92," and they just look straight through you. So definitely a chance just to chat FPL, have a bit of banter, and make mates. And it's good. I said to the missus the night, "Oh, Steve was doing a stream, so count me out for the next 2-3 hours." So that's how much we all want to participate and have a good yarn about it all. So yeah, it's good. I'm like you say, this season's written off, so I can't wait for next season, to be honest. Let's start fresh, see what new faces come in, and I'm sure you and Jason have got some tweaks and everything that we'll all be excited about in the pre-season. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to the back end of this season and seeing where he's taken and being part of it all there.
What do you think of the format of a breakfast show and a evening show, not on the same day, but let's just say for argument's sake a couple of breakfast shows during the week and a couple of evening shows during the week, and then of course covering certain live games and obviously doing Saturday FPL live? What are your thoughts on that? This is actually the first week where we'll have done a breakfast show and we're going to be doing an evening show tomorrow. Well, Jason is anyway.
Oh yeah, it is mint because, like you say, a lot of us that get on this one we really don't have the opportunity to jump on the morning one our time. You know, like we're at school, college, work, so it's you know, it's wicked when you see the schedule and you see it's in the AM for you because you think that's great. That's 7 p.m., 8 p.m. our time. So, like you say, me and Ozzy and Aguero and these faces that tend to come on at this one get the opportunity. And but then we all listen to say Jason's one tomorrow. We'll listen to it back and hear all them faces that get in. So. It's good.
I completely agree with you. I mean, a man Dylan making the point. The breakfast shows are legit. You should do more, and yeah, that is the plan. I mean, admittedly, I have just not been able to do it over the. I mean, it was in the summer. In fact, the breakfast shows was how you got involved, wasn't it, Kev?
It was, yeah. It was pre-season, wasn't it? So I think me and a lot of others are scratching around YouTube looking for some sort of content and. You know, you're getting excited with the game dropping and seeing the players' listings and stuff. And then I seen you pop up about 3 or 4 days in a row. Well, you know, a couple of days in, I thought, who's this guy? So I think it was the first time I'd ever clicked on, you know, I hadn't even used Discord. And I didn't realise how easy it was to get the app and join the Discord. And then, boom, you're on the show chatting away. So it's quite surreal there. It feels like ages ago. But yeah,
it feels like ages ago,
it
but it was
like
only in
yesterday.
July time.
Exactly.
And
there's been a lot of game week in that time, eh?
And I know it sounds completely crazy, but this is all just the beginning, as we always keep banging on about. It is really just the beginning, and like you said, the future of this particular channel is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm not going to lie. I have certainly got a lot of plans for this. I mean, the starting point is doing more regular breakfast and evening shows, because what I really want to create is that kind of like this is my dream, Kev, is to kind of like get a rivalry going between the morning guys and the evening guys, and really, because we're still not, apart from Show Me the Mane, there's still nobody which is basically just saying, stuff the lot of you. I'm going to win this. I don't care about him or him. I just care about me. There's no one like that. And I'm just wondering that if we can get some rivalry going between the morning and the evening team would be absolutely amazing. What would be good is the fact that, because then I'd only see Jason and be able to interact with the guys in the evening on, say, a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon, then you'd be able to build up this.
So you're coming together.
A bit like radio, like they do on radio shows. You know, it's very rare that you get the morning guys in with the evening guys, but when you do, it's kind of like that little rivalry going on, like who's got more viewers. And it sounds really pathetic, but it's just true. It's just creates this this little nitpicking here and there, which makes it all for fun and entertainment, to be honest with you.
No, that's good. And like you say, it's the old you know, the two characters, you know, the good guy, the bad guy, the good cop, bad cop. The morning show versus the evening show. It's a good idea. And like you say, you're going to get so much build up this pre-season. You know, towards the back end of the season, I think people get more involved around the good double game weeks, the blanks. You know, the interest spikes, and then pre-season it doubles again. So I think these are just going to see the numbers multiply towards the back end and then in pre-season. And it's not a bad idea. You could build it up pre-season towards the start of the season, you know, for the audience at this end of the world. Like myself, when I stumbled across it, there's hundreds and thousands of people that'll catch it this pre-season. So now it'd be good. And I'd definitely be up for the with Ray and Aussie Boy and Aguero and back in the morning show.
I mean, straight away, Sydney Hammer and our man Dylan making a very interesting point. Our man Dylan, these are really good ideas. Northern Hemisphere versus Southern Hemisphere teams that we could create. Sydney Hammer with a fantastic idea here. Northern and Southern Hemisphere cash mini leagues instead of just... We could have 2 separate ones and, of course, 1 main one. That's a... You know what, Sydney Hammer? You may be onto a bit of commission there. That's a really good idea. I'm gonna write that down. I like that a lot. I think that's a really good personal option to be moving forward with, certainly, because that makes everything a lot more easier to control. Brilliant. Thank you for that, Sydney. Really do appreciate it. Kev, on that note, I'll let you go and catch you at the weekend.
Yeah, good luck, Steve. I'll jump in on the weekend. Nice one.
Cheers, dude. See you later. There's Statman there, giving his thoughts on what he thinks about Elite FPL moving forward. Of course, about 3 hours ago now, his predictions, and along with everybody else, the games themselves. That comes to a conclusion of today's morning show, and straight away, Davey FPL, just checking before I ride the bike to university. That's unfair. Southern Hemisphere players are much better than the Northern. Exactly, Davey. That's exactly my point. I honestly, Davey and Kev and Sydney and everybody, I would love it if there was somehow, like, everybody thinks there's like animosity between me and Jason, and honestly, whenever people go, how far is Steve RJ? Honestly, I couldn't care less. But if we could somehow get some amazing rivalry going where people are genuinely getting angry about certain things, and maybe in-house fighting between the Southern Hemisphere teams and the in-house fight, it'd be just amazing. It really would. Cheers for that, Sydney Hammer. You've just sparked a debate up there. Brilliant. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to clear off. I'm going to get some food down my gob. Probably Burger King. But and then clear off to the gym. So thanks to everybody that's joined me this morning. Let's just name check them quickly. Of course, it was Aussie Boy, Phil, Kev, just Statman just there, FPL Aguero, James Bang coming out of a meeting, Ray Joyce. We had FPL Boona showing his face for a few minutes as well. Absolutely fantastic show this morning. And of course, talking of shows, the next preview show will be with Jason. Jason is back tomorrow evening. I reckon it will be about the usual time, 8:30ish. You'll be able to celebrate. In fact, you know what? Let's do it again. Let's bring it up, because I'm not joking with you. I apologise who it was, but they made a very good point that this has got to be, and I agree. For me, this has been my favourite moment this season from an Elite FPL point of view. It was at Jason's wedding. It's a wonderful moment. It was him, Dan, and Jason, and Sai, sorry. Always puts a smile on my face. There's Sai. There's Dan. But it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you. Here we go! There we are. Genuinely, when I can't remember who it was. Someone told me about it the other week, and I brought it up, and I just assumed it was Jason had done some form of funny video taking having a laugh, and it wasn't. It was his wonderful, wonderful moment at his wedding, and that was, even for me, that was just a genuine surprise live on stream that him and Dan and Sai dancing about to that particular intro song. It was absolutely bloody brilliant. And I keep playing it because it just makes me smile. I think that alone says everything about this community. Just airing the thoughts of people like Ray Joyce just a few minutes ago. Blimey, John Harris is here. We were talking about you earlier on, slagging you off. But no, just in all seriousness, just moments like that just is what we do this for. It's absolutely brilliant. And Phil making the point, I can't wait for 30 or 40 of us singing this at the end of the season at some form of meet-up. Yeah, eat, sleep, elite, repeat. I completely concur with that. At some point, we will arrange, I reckon it'll probably be next season, a meet-up in London. It would be absolutely fantastic doing something that obviously Planet FPL do. These meetups, it would be absolutely amazing to do. So yeah, there we have it. That's the end of the stream. Let's get out of here. Let's get on with our particular lives. And yeah, it's the usual story. If you've enjoyed the show, just simply hit the like button. Other than that, take it easy, guys. Follow us on Twitter at Elite FPL for all the news regarding updates on when the next show is, and also quote unquote funny videos from the streams themselves. But what I can definitely tell you is that Jason going live tomorrow for his preview show, and then on Saturday, I'm almost certain there will be a Saturday FPL live. Actually, no, there won't be. No, there won't be, because they're just no matches. It'd be a waste of time. So it'd be Sunday. Sunday, Man City versus West Ham. Definitely going to be doing a stream then to basically see Aguero blank. Other than that, guys, take it easy and have a good day.